Gaming news today is all about response. First, the arcraiders cheating situation is hitting a boiling point, and Embark Studios has officially responded. Apparently there are big things coming, and there's something that I actually didn't expect them to address. I want to talk about what phase we're sort of in right now and what they could do long term. I even have what I think is a creative solution for how to fix the cheating problem. Second, concerns about Fable in 2026 and being at the Xbox Developer Direct, well, that can be put to rest. The official Fable account has spoken about what they will be showing at the Developer Direct, along with Forza Horizon 6. Lastly, the team behind The Division 3 has finally said something about the project, and while it's not a lot, it is exciting. Now, if you're watching this later, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure that your bell button is set to all. That is a great way to not miss out on the shows. Hit the like button, and if you want to be a part of what we do, extra content, the Discord, things like that, as well as just streams Friday evenings and stuff like that with my wife, make sure you have an active membership to the channel. Hit that join button. All right, so basically the arcraider situation hit a bit of a boiling point, and I wanted to talk about it because, like I said, I think I've got a creative solution for how to fix it. Everyone hates cheaters in video games, especially when you can lose your stuff and have it stolen, and that is certainly true in arcraiders. And the bigger question isn't just what will Embark Studios do, it's what does this mean for the game long term, as well as what's the solution. I think I actually have a creative solution, but first we need to talk about what happened and what's the response been and where does the game go from here. So basically, cheating in the game started to become a bit of a epidemic discussion. Big live streamers were talking about it. Content creators like Nadeshot and Ninja and Shroud, they had some very passionate responses, but I believe they were also very fair responses. Shroud basically said that he might take a break from the game until they fix it. He did acknowledge that the studio had been on a break, so he was willing to give them some time to address it. Ninja simply tweeted, "Where are you?" to Embark Studios, while Nadeshot took a more lengthy approach and wrote a very long response on Twitter. That was one that apparently Tim the Tatman had trouble reading. The point is that the big creators have lots of eyeballs on them. Ninja even pointed out the rise of Burnt Peanut, and when you have hundreds of thousands of people watching streamers getting killed by cheaters, well, that's not good for your game. Well, Embark Studios is not oblivious to this. They acknowledge that they were on a holiday break, and they have now posted an official response. And it includes something that I did not expect to see them address. Here's what they said. "We've seen the discussion around the topic of cheaters in arcraiders. Please know that we are taking this issue very seriously and are listening to and acting on your feedback. Over the next few weeks, we are implementing significant changes to our rule sets and deploying new detection mechanisms to identify and remove cheaters. This includes updating our anti-cheat systems for improved detections and bans, as well as applying client-side fixes specifically addressing the out-of-map glitch. Furthermore, we are introducing tools for streamers to help mitigate stream sniping." Okay, it's that last part that I was not expecting to see. This is pretty standard fare from a dev studio, right? You got this growing problem of cheating, but the part that I didn't expect to see them speak to was giving ways to mitigate stream sniping. Now, obviously, a game developer does not owe streamers special treatment or special features, but there is a symbiotic relationship between big creators streaming your game and the success of your game. Public perception, excitement, apathy, anger, like these are all things that can take hold if streamers are having a horrible time dealing with cheaters. It can also cause more people to seek out those cheats. Nick Merckx recently pointed out how these cheats are pretty cheap, which makes sense. Many of these companies are probably playing a volume game in a race to the bottom, as many providers are out there, and the cheap providers know that many paying customers will be repeat customers if they get banned or if they want to continue using the service. Now, I think the best way to approach this is threefold, and one of these suggestions is a little creative, but hear me out. First, I think you have to go after the cheat providers and take them to the cleaners legally. These companies are parasites, and they should be treated as such. It's one of the reasons some companies have had greater success minimizing cheating in their games. They go to the supplier themselves. Second, you've got to be more creative than just ban waves. I believe ban waves are a last resort once you've exhausted all other creative measures, which gets to the third point here. You need to matchmake cheaters together with each other, or better yet, this is where I get a little creative. I think you should put cheaters in lobbies with bots that seemingly mimic the player behavior of real players. Now, most of these people are probably low skill. Their killing bots isn't going to be something that gets their attention. They're going to be distracted for a while. They lack game sense. I mean, that's probably why they use cheats. They're not very good. They're not going to be able to really tell what is going on, especially if you've ever seen footage of people using cheats. I mean, the way these cheats run, they're killing people super efficiently, but also from very far away. There's all these distracting overlays on the screen. Now, somebody might say, but you're allowing the cheaters to continue to take up server space. Yes, but the goal here is mitigation. You are trying to minimize just how many honest players and honest customers are running into cheaters. Once cheating accounts just get banned, they typically just make another one. In this case, it would take them a while to probably figure out what's going on. If they feel like they're continuing to win and get loot, and they just go back to the lobby clueless as to what's going on, I would take that as a success, right? You're making them sort of purify the game by keeping them busy with bots. They're just going to make new accounts again eventually. They probably would figure it out, but then you just repeat the cycle. You get them to buy the game again, so you make money off of these losers, and then you're also protecting your player base from them. So what does this mean for the game long term? Well, this is an ongoing problem. It's not just going to go away with one ban wave. It's why detection and mitigation is more important than just doing those ban waves. Cheating creates two epidemics simultaneously within your game. First, more and more people will start cheating. They do it out of desperation, morbid curiosity, or just plain old gamer rage. The other epidemic is one that I call the sus epidemic. Every good kill or good player is now sus. This is a poison to your game and a poison to the vibe. Streamers will fall prey to this because it's hard to know, right? Is that a really good player or are they cheating? But the player base falls prey to this as well. You've got to get in front of this or it will drive players away, which for a developer, that is a nightmare scenario. So for now, we wait and see what they're going to do. If I were Embark, I would keep it vague and creative, just like their aggression-based matchmaking. We know with their aggression-based matchmaking, they can detect player behavior. They can tell what people are doing and then match them accordingly. Seemingly, they could do the same thing with cheaters. It's not hard to tell when somebody's cheating in a game like this. Their play style is so divergent from normal play styles and normal players, you would just funnel them into these servers with bots. And the hope would be, given that Embark has a lot of experience with really, really good AI, they could create bots and protocols that would really mimic player behavior. Now, obviously, proximity chat would be absent, which might tip people off that, man, we're in lobbies and like all of a sudden nobody's talking like ever. But again, I think the goal is mitigation. Minimization is really what you're going for. If, for example, for a period of 48 hours, you have a bunch of cheaters being funneled to these lobbies, and for roughly 48 hours, a lot of them just can't tell what's going on. They're not really wise to what's happening. Well, that means for that period of time, cheating is being experienced by honest players a diminished amount. And that keeps them happy. That keeps them positive. That keeps them spending money. Eventually, cheaters again would figure it out and make new accounts. But now they're having to buy your game again, which means you get to make money off of these people one more time. And then you should be able to detect a brand new player who's cheating even better. They could institute protocols that analyze early player behavior more stringently. Make it very, very clear and very obvious that, like, listen, if new players have a spike in accuracy, in PvP, in aggression, start monitoring those players more heavily, catch those cheaters about as fast as you can, and put them right back in the bot lobbies. You just want these people to not be engaging with your honest players. We know that cheaters will keep coming back. We know they will just make new accounts. That's not a new phenomenon, which is why I think it calls for a lot more creativity. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can leave a comment below or stop by one of the live streams to discuss it, which is what we're going to do right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys so much for being here. Going back to our roots with show opens and monologues. There's other things to discuss today, obviously, but I think, oops, that's the wrong button. I actually think this is a really big topic, and I think they're going to have to get creative. You can't just start banning people. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button and say good morning in the chat. Tell me what you think, because I know that's the instinct, is to be like, well, just ban them. I also have some people to thank. It looks like we've got Adam Lee is going to start the day for us here. Let me get this going here. I got to reset everything. I need to reset YouTube. I need to reset Twitch. There we go. I got Adam Lee with 30 months. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day. And remember to hit the like button. He also gifts one, so that's going to be a double. Thank you so much for doing that, Adam. And then Noberto is going to double dip with the Prime over there on purple. Thank you so much for doing that. You guys have unlocked Friday night. We actually made it easier to unlock Friday night. It's a lower goal, but the goal now is, which is the one we've had for the longest time, that 500 unlocks Madam. If you guys want Madam to show up tonight, you got a bit of a hill to climb, but Fridays tend to go a little crazy. Your burnout, you're from arcraiders news. I mean, we only covered it, I think, once this week. Yesterday was more about GTA 6, the Xbox Developer Direct. We even covered the new event last night, New Game Plus, and a 10 bomb comes in from Behemoth to get us right on the doorstep. And Garagaj, I'm not even sure how to say that. Gary, I'm going to call you Gary. Gary with 7 months and a member plus is going to land the plane on 300, and just like that, Hidden Series is going to drop a 20-month renewal member plus, and that gets us to 301. So I owe YouTube a member already. So good morning, boys, and thank you so much, Old Greg, for using your Prime over there. If you guys have a Prime sub, throw it my way over there on purple. It really helps. And Wired Rope's going to answer back with a 5 bomb for purple and make it a little interesting. Thank you so much for doing that, Rope. Many gifted subs over here to add to the total over the years and months since we've been back on purple. And it's now 7 of 14 between the two platforms. All I need to hear is Fable on PS5 day one. Yeah, I'm seeing people claim, I've got VGC here reporting on Fable, saying Fable was announced in 2020 as part of the Xbox Game Showcase. The game, which is a reboot of the Lionhead RPG series, doesn't currently have a release date. It's understood Fable is also in development for the PlayStation 5. Not surprising at all. I don't really think these are... I know people like to use them as like dunks on social media. I really don't think this is the surprise or the thing that people are trying to constantly turn it into. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm simplifying it, but like, we all knew this was coming. We knew that they were going to be, basically, we knew they were going to be bringing their games to PlayStation. I mean, Avowed got announced for PS5. Towerborn got announced for PS5 yesterday. These are not surprises. South of Midnight, yeah. I just think many of us knew this was coming, and now that it's here, I get why people want to celebrate and like do the whole like tribalistic thing on Twitter. That's fine. I mean, go ahead and take your victory laps. To me, it's more about the quality of the games than anything, Suddenly going to the Fable studio and saying, hey, we need you to make the game for PlayStation. You guys know me. I think timed exclusivity is fine. I think it leads to games coming out in better shape. I think you end up with, a host of, sometimes better features, better optimization. So, that's my concern. I'm not going to be like, yay, we get to, play a game over here now. If the game's at great quality, sure, I'll be excited. But again, my posture on this hasn't changed. I think that there's always a concern when you add multiple platforms to your release. High Guard Game of the Year, take it to the bank. Oh, yes, for sure. Now, Tom Henderson seems to be indicating that the reason High Guard is being quiet has nothing to do with like it being canceled or something. He seems to think that it is related to the same strategy that we saw from Apex Legends. He responded to somebody this morning because people are basically saying, what's going on? Is this thing cooked? Is this thing dead? He seems to think that this is a strategy, like this isn't a surprise. I said that I think they're in a panic. I mean, I kind of stand by that. Yo, it's good, Hilly. Hilly's spamming Farty Bomb over there on Twitch. He's trying to manifest it. We will see. You guys got a ways to go. If you can get it to 400, usually once we get it there, the final runway is a lot easier to get, and that'll be Madam tonight. Not just Madam reacting to gaming news, but you'll get her playing Promise Mascot Agency, which is a hilarious game. I think that was the last delay. So, okay, yeah. So you think the Fable delay was because they wanted it to be a multi-plat release. I don't know if I agree with that. I think they had more work to do because the footage they showed, I don't think the thing was ready. I don't think it was close to being ready. Maybe it being, like, let's say it's like late this year or something. You could say that that's related to PS5, like maybe they needed a little bit more time or something. But, like, to me, it was clear it wasn't ready. They didn't have... the footage they show is fine. It's not that it's bad, but it's clear when you look at the pre-alpha footage, it's like, you guys still got a ways to go here. I don't think they were like, oh, we need... Like, let's just imagine it was ready, and they could have shipped it, but according to your theory, they didn't because they wanted to make sure it was ready for PS5. I don't think you would do that. I think you would ship it, get it in the market, hit that cadence, keep your Game Pass folks satiated, make them feel like, yep, Game Pass got another win instead of delaying it. You can always bring it to PlayStation later. Now, unless they're internally looking and running market tests and research and they're like, well, it'll sell better if that platform doesn't have to wait, because it's a larger platform. It's not on Game Pass on PlayStation. So if you want to play Fable on PlayStation, you're going to have to buy it. I don't know. The delay was related to development. Yeah, I think it's far more related to that. I don't think the delay was because they're trying to, get it ready for PlayStation. Again, I think that's possibly playing a role, but I don't think to the same degree at all. Did I name? Yeah, I did. Okay. I was going to say, I wasn't sure if I named the stream today properly. Ain't no way Fable was ready last year. Combined marketing spend if you wait. Yeah, you get to do combined marketing spend. You get to have a unified release date. You can have pre-orders. You can have pre-order bonuses. I think pre-orders and pre-order bonuses probably see a pretty significant amount of diminishment when you are like a second wave, right? Like, hypothetically, if the game would have come out for Xbox and then a year later came to PlayStation, they probably know internally that leads to a diminished amount of pre-orders and interest because it's just not the same. It's like, well, the game's already been out for a year. I already watched streams. I already watched YouTube videos. I don't have any mystery a gap about this game. I like your idea for cheaters in arcraiders. Oh, so for arcraiders cheats, you like my idea? But is the runway for that working kind of short? Once they figure out the tells for the lobbies, won't they work around it? No, because as soon as the game realizes you're a cheater, it would put you in the lobbies. The only way you would not get put into those lobbies, you would have to create a new account. You'd have to create a whole new account. So that's the point. They're going to do it anyway, right? Think about it from this perspective. The minute a cheater realizes they're caught and they're, because you ban them, let's say, they're going to make another account and they're going to jump right back in. If you use my idea, a good percentage of these dum-dums would have no idea that you've put them into lobbies with bots. They wouldn't be able to tell. If you've seen the overlays for the cheats, it's absurd. They're killing people from super far away. There's all this crap on the screen. They can see, like, wireframe and all of that. I don't think they'd be able to tell. If you make the bots believable, and believe me, if there's a company that could make believable bots, it's Embark Studios. We know they're good with AI. They've done it with the Arc. They've done it with the robots. They could certainly do it with mimicking player behavior, right? The only way that they would figure it out is they would probably either tell that, like, the players are terrible, or I would actually make the bots pretty good. I'd make them win some of the time. Send these losers back to the lobby, but there'd be no proximity chat. I don't know if you'd want to try to mimic that. That might be a big tell and make it pretty obvious. One of the kids was in early today, so they found me disinfecting toys with your live stream playing on the laptop. That's my brother. Teacher, your brother is a YouTuber. Yes, I try to. I LARP is one. But again, like what Wired Rope is saying over here on Purple, they've got a matching algo already. As soon as you tell somebody's cheating, you lock them into lobbies that only have bots. You're not doing it because you want that person to keep playing. You're doing it because you don't want that person to be in your normal lobbies. You don't want honest paying customers having to deal with these losers. You could also make super bots that were really good at cheating as well. I think that would tip their hand more quickly. If they started losing gunfights, they would either assume I've been put into lobbies with other cheaters, or they would figure it out. Oh, I'm getting killed by bots, right? They get lasered and killed super quickly around the corner or something. Imagine if the anti-cheat could detect cheaters, then all of a sudden they couldn't do any damage to other players, rendering them useless. Okay, that's not bad. I like where your head is at, but the point of my idea, I'm trying to get creative. I'm trying to think outside the box. I think what you're trying to do is not let them know they've been caught. That's the whole point. The whole point is you don't want them to know they've been caught, because if they figure out that they've been caught, they will create another account and they'll jump right back in, and they're going to start ticking off your honest players. Why not in lobbies with other cheaters? That's the quickest way to let cheaters know they've been caught. You want these guys thinking that they're still cheating. If you put them into servers with bots, and the bots are believable and feel like real players, I bet you money a good percentage of these buffoons would just keep on playing and being like, haha, I've been playing for weeks, haven't gotten banned yet. And Embark's just sitting there laughing all the way to the bank. They're like, yeah, you can sit over there and kill bots all day. Nobody freaking cares. And then eventually, you know what you do? Eventually you ban them, because eventually they'll figure it out, right? You do a ban wave. You make it painful. Make it as painful as you can. Let these absolute losers grind for weeks against bots and get a ton of loot and get a ton of levels and get really, really high. Maybe even some of these morons spend money, right? They start spending money in your cosmetics store, and guess what? All of it goes away eventually. You just wipe them out. You're like, yep, you've been banned. And now they're going to come back and they're going to do it again. And you know what they're going to think? I've got a couple of months or weeks or whatever before I get caught. That's how long it took last time. Little do they know, the entire time they're playing against bots again. You catch them, you throw them into the bot lobbies, they're none the wiser. And you just keep wailing on these idiots. You keep making money off of them, you keep throwing them into lobbies so they have no idea, and then eventually, when it's going to be the most painful, you ban them so they lose all their stuff. Seriously, screw these losers. That's what you should do to them. You just ban them like, oh, they've been cheating for a week and you banned them. That's not that good. You know what I mean? That's the PvE mode everybody wants. Sounds like a reward. Well, it's not a reward if you know what you're going to do, right? It would be like letting your kid fill the shopping cart. You know, let's say you're trying to teach your kid a lesson, and you let him fill the shopping cart, and you get all the way to the front of the store, and you're like, we're not buying any of this. You know, why? Because you stole, and I wanted you to feel like something got stolen from you. You thought you were going to get all this stuff, and now you're not. Make it painful. Make it memorable. Like, and listen, the more mad they get, the better. Like, I want them to be angry. I want them to get like a month in and have all this stuff and loot. I want them to spend money, buy cosmetics, and then wake up one day and their account's banned and it's all gone. That's the hope, is that they get so fed up and so angry and they lose so big that they walk away and they leave your game alone. Sneaky says, see my last. Hang on. Even every bot they kill, get the bot, but the bot has a free loadout. Oh no. Once you lock them into bot lobbies, yeah, let them find good stuff. Just set up like an RNG slot machine that gives the bots a random assortment of loot. You got to make it believable, brother. You got to make it believable. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Your idea works when the game is free. As is, there's a barrier of entry. Great. They got to spend money every time they make a new account. Good. Let these losers waste their money. That's what they are. They're losers. Make Expedition. day, the ban. Yeah, that's right. That's right. As soon as they're about to get a big payout or a big reward or things are about to be, exciting because they've been grinding for so long. That's right. That's right. Nail them. Nail them with the ban then. If Embark hires Lono, there is a solution for their biggest issue at the moment. I mean, they don't need to hire me. I don't think this is that creative. I mean, I think it's a creative idea, but I don't think it's that ingenious that they couldn't think of it themselves. Like, they could easily think of this themselves. Yo, thank you so much for using your Prime. Genshiro's Secret Stash, bumping the line to 308. That's right, I owe YouTube. I need to pay up. I owe you guys. Every 25, I owe a member to the platform that hits the milestone. So I'm going to go ahead and pay up right now. Thank you guys so much. Cheaters do that in COD all the time, and the game is way more expensive. Yeah, I think you need, desperate times call for desperate measures, right? You need something that's more creative than just a ban wave. Like, I think ban waves are fine. Get them out. Get them out of the servers. Get them out of the game, sure. But I think that you should do that when it's going to hurt the worst. Catching somebody 1 week in, like, come on, who the frick cares about that? Like, yeah, they're just going to make another account. They would also have to add something where loot can't be passed around by a cheater, because I could see cheaters wanting to be in those lobbies to sell items to other players like eBay. Real talk, they should have cheater lobbies. Let them wage war and see which cheats come out on top. The rest of you can play in peace. There are games that do the cheater lobbies. That's where I got this idea. The reason that I don't think cheater lobbies work is because, to be quite honest with you, as soon as they figure it out, they're done. They'll just make a new account. That's as good as a ban to them. Like, that's as good as a ban. Like, as soon as they feel like, oh, I'm getting put in cheating lobbies, they'll just make a new account and start over. Quarantine is also a way to protect against false positives. Yeah, because you can always double check. Like, while you have them in quarantine, you can be running audits on their behavior and what they're doing, and you might be like, you know what, this person's not cheating. Like, they're just really good. Like, they're not cheating. As soon as somebody has been considered to be quote-unquote suspicious, you throw them in quarantine, and while they're in there, you're just analyzing their gameplay. You're getting them away. You're basically making sure, it's literally like a quarantine. You're making sure they're not one of the infected, and you're keeping them away from everybody. If you find out they're not infected, you can throw them back out into the general population. If you find out, nope, this person is indeed cheating, you just leave them in there. And again, they're none the wiser. They're just going to sit there, and they're just going to keep freaking killing bots. Ban them as soon as they pick up a Wolfpack nade or something. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really considered that if they're grinding against bots, they could certainly sell the loot. Well, you can't sell the loot. I guess they could sell it to somebody because they could go into a lobby together. Because my point is they're never really interacting with the public. But I guess they could. GTA put a cone on the cheaters. No, I mean, make it a choice. You can pick to enter the cheater lobbies. Yeah, it could also be a penalty, but I mean, just say you can cheat in here. So you literally would let them cheat, but you would only let them cheat in certain lobbies. The only reason I don't think that would work is I think most people would say, if they're cheating, they want to play against real players. They want to win against real players. It's a really, really weird, I don't know. It's a strange phenomenon that people are willing to spend so much money and time to not really win at a game. You know what I mean? Like, to not really win at a game, to basically play a game and it's all fake, it's all phony, none of it's real. You're excuse me. You're playing and you're not really winning. And yet they still do it. Like, the mentality of the cheater is so difficult to understand because for most of us, it's just so divergent. It's like, why on earth are you doing that? How could you get any enjoyment out of that? I think the key is to not understand them. You just quarantine them. They're like zombies. You can't really make sense of them. They're mindless. There ain't a lot going on up there, right? So put them in a place where they can leave the general population alone. Dwayne with 44 months. Let's add it to the total, 309. Thank you so much, Dwayne. A false superiority. They're just after the short high. Later doesn't matter. And that's the point. Like, if we break it down to the basics, and Zubair is right, and they're just looking for the short high. They're just looking for the dopamine of seeing the player go down and getting the loot and going back to the lobby. I wouldn't be surprised if my bot lobby idea would work for a long time, because the average person would just be like, they wouldn't even care because they're getting that sense of victory. Don't you know, with all those cheats, they're the best in all of Esperanza. That's right. It's like when I'm having 60 time. I'm not winning, but it's fun. Sure, Hilly. Keep them out of the general pop. That's the goal. Again, I think this is where some of these companies need to rethink. This is like guerrilla warfare, man. You got to get creative. You can't just be like doing the traditional thing of like, well, we caught 1,000 people today and we banned them. Instead of playing whack-a-mole, right, you're actually playing quarantine. It's a different game. It's enjoyment to them because they aren't good, leaving the playing field the only way they can, leveling the playing field the only way they can. Sorry, I've been in and out. Why lobby and not just ban them? Okay, so the reason that banning doesn't work, as I just said, you're just playing whack-a-mole. So typically what's happening in these games, I mean, you've seen some of the ban waves in Call of Duty. What's good, lady gamers? You've seen some of the ban waves in Call of Duty. Like, it's absurd the number of people that they will ban. And then guess what? You're still running into bans. You're still running into I'm sorry, not bans. You're still running into cheaters. So ban waves really are, like, I think, the most ineffective form of mitigation. There's do nothing, there's ban waves, and then there's more creative measures. And I don't think ban waves are that effective about mitigating it. I think players still encounter it, players still deal with it. They're still going to run into arcraiders cheats. So I think you quarantine. You quarantine. You want them occupado. You want them occupied, basically. You want them thinking that they're actually playing and winning. That's the whole point. That's it. You're kind of pulling the, who is it with the painted fence, the famous story? Is it Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn? I can't remember. I think is it Tom Sawyer? Basically what he does is, the gag, he's got to paint a fence. And some kids come by and they're making fun of him. And he pretends that it's an absolute blast and it's so fun. Well, they all start arguing about who's going to get to paint the fence. They want to turn painting the fence. So what he does is, he finally gives in. He finally, quote unquote, gives in, and he lets them take turns painting the fence. Is it Huckleberry? Okay, it's Huckleberry Finn. Tom Sawyer's the white fence. Great. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Who is the paint white fence story from? Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn? Who is it? It's Tom Sawyer. It's from the Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was Tom Sawyer. I didn't think it was Huckleberry Finn. Okay. So that's the gag, is he's got them convinced that they're having fun painting a dadgum fence. So he gets the job done, and he just gets to sit there with his feet propped. That's the game you're trying to run on these guys. You're trying to keep them happy. You want them thinking, yep, I'm cheating, I'm being successful, I'm getting tons of great loot in this game. That's what you're doing. You're pulling a Tom Sawyer on them. That's the whole thing. And then what they do is, they'll log a day, 2 days, maybe a week, maybe more of playtime, and they're never, ever getting to shoot honest players. I think that's the solution. You prefer Sharkleberry Fin? I don't know what that is. Yeah, you're running a con on these guys. Con the con man. That's what you're doing. Cheat the cheaters. And then you can still do ban waves. Ban waves are one-time events that take 2 to 3 months of work to pull off and fix the problem for a week or so, and then 2 to 3 months, 1 week of still problems. That's exactly right, Fructer. The beauty of quarantining them is that when you go to do the ban wave, you have concrete data. You know that every person you are banning is 100% a cheater. Because if anybody claimed, I got banned and I've never cheated in my life, they could come out and be like, listen, we have a method of monitoring player behavior for weeks before we pull the trigger. And believe you me, we also have methods in place to ensure that while we're running these data reports, the player base at large doesn't have to worry. We've got these people quarantined. And then, now, and again, maybe don't even say this. Don't even say this out loud, right? Like, I think they should be very secretive and very vague about their efforts in minimizing cheating in the game. You got to be pretty vague because you don't want people being able to kind of game the system, because that's always the concern, is that you're going to have people doing that, figuring out like how to game the system. Well, the advantage you have in quarantining them is you now plant paranoia in their mind. Now we're playing mind games with these guys. Well, am I quarantined? How are they going to figure out if they're quarantined or not? They're going to have to start analyzing the behavior of the people that they're killing. Well, was that a bot or a person? I don't know. So now you've got them spending their time trying to figure out whether or not they're in quarantine. Like, who cares if they know it's possible? The more they're spending their time either not playing against real players or trying to figure out if they need to create a new account and buy the game again, the more they're doing that, the better. If you make it obvious, and as Fructer's saying, band waves usually take a couple of weeks to do. They got to gather all the info and everything else. Isn't the game the devs tried to go after you on Twitter? Yep. Code Violet is a bad game. Yep. Surprising no one. Surprising nobody. Yeah. This is the first PS5 exclusive of 2026. The Code Violet reviews are out. A 4 out of 10 from IGN, a 4 out of 10 from Push Square. Code Violet is a bad game. Code Violet is a mess. Wow, so shocking. Hey, Team Kill Media, do you remember when you sent me a review code for your garbage game called Quantum Error, and I tried to do you a favor by not reviewing your trash can of a game, and you decided to go public on Twitter and target me and endorse harassment? Yeah. I'm so surprised that you made another piece of garbage. It's so shocking. I literally left a comment on their trailer the other day, and I said, this will be as good as Quantum Error. Oh, it sucks to suck, don't it? Making another piece of trash game. They just need to get out of the gaming space. They're frickin' frauds. Get out. Nobody wants you here. Take your trash somewhere else. Oh, my word. The pre-order told me everything I needed to know. They literally copied Leon's look. Oh, yeah, of course they did. What's that? It's got 12 user ratings on Metacritic. Yeah, this isn't suspicious at all. This isn't suspicious. I'm sure this is a totally legitimate user score on Metacritic. Yeah, I'm sure that's legit. They just got 12 people already to give it universal acclaim. What a garbage company. Oh my gosh. Hilarious. Didn't they try and copyright strike somebody's video Like, was it Dreamcast guy? And they like try and copyright his review, and it was like a year later, and they were like, we want that video to come down. They're abusing the copyright system, messing with somebody's income. Jiminy Christmas. 12-man studio. It's about to be a no-man studio. Thank you for saving me money. Yeah, steer clear of Code Violet. Listen, when they did that, I knew. I was like, yeah, if this is how you're gonna run your company, man, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that you're not long for this world if that's how you're gonna run your company, and that's the kind of behavior. You know what I mean? You go right ahead. Code Violet is a mess. Crummy combat, tedious exploration, technical problems. The sexy costumes and horny camera work seem at odds with both Violet as a character and the tone of the writing. Yeah. I cannot wrap my head around why people keep hyping up games from this studio. The Code Violet devs are the same ones who released Quantum Error for $60. If you buy anything from Team Kill Media, you're frankly getting scammed. That's right. That's right. Here. Code Violet is another banger from the trash studio. Team Kill Media. Another banger. There you go. Send tweet. I tried Star Rupture last night. Pretty good. Bit of early access jank, but it's a lot of game for 15 euro. Yeah, people are really singing the praises of that one. Well, you don't understand. Lashing out at people actually shows incredible confidence in their crappy game. They're not. That's the thing, though. They're not confident. They're not. They're scammers, man. They paint some picture like, and they did it to me, like they took advantage of people that, you know, buy into false narratives on Twitter about me, and they were like, oh yeah, he's just mean and da-da-da-da, and it's like, man, I did you a favor. I was like, golly, this game's in such bad state. I was thinking, well, I literally was like, well, maybe they'll patch it and then I can stream it if it's in a better state, because when I first loaded up the game, I couldn't believe how bad it was. I was in disbelief. I truly thought, there's no way this is what they intended to ship. It literally felt like a tech test, like a first sort of run of like, here's an area, here's kind of the vibe we're going for. It like, I couldn't believe how bad it was. I've never been sent a code for a game that bad before. I've been sent codes for like indie games, AA games. Sometimes they're a little rough. You know, they might have some bugs or something. Like, this was so bad. They still haven't fixed Quantum Error after saying they would update it. I'm not surprised at all. How many of you guys actually encounter cheaters in arcraiders? I think the aggression-based lobbies are making it look worse than it actually is. I wanted to respond to that, the OA, because I threw out a theory yesterday about this, because the streamers are the ones really driving that narrative that, like, there are more cheaters in this game than Call of Duty. What's happening is the opposite of equilibrium. So generally speaking, cheaters in Call of Duty are going to be sort of spread out amongst the player pool. Okay, so you're going to encounter them a varying degree of time. You know, maybe they get banned, what have you. I think arcraiders cheating has a disproportionate, you know, representation and focus and sort of like fever bed in a streamer's lobby, because the streamers, Shroud, Ninja, Burnt Peanut, Nick Merckx, the guys, you know, Nade Shot, these guys that are talking about it. I like all these guys, by the way. So when I'm mentioning them, I'm not throwing shade their way. But I think they're getting more of it because they go in and that's how they play. They play to kill. These guys are killers. They put on a great show. They're very entertaining. They're very successful. And that's what they do. They go in and they kill a lot. Well, what's going to happen if someone's cheating? Well, if someone's cheating, they're going to be racking up kills, which means they're going to have a greater propensity of landing in a streamer's lobby. because aggression-based matchmaking is going to funnel cheaters into the PvP lobbies, which that's not great if you like the PvP in this game. Right? Like, I actually have another theory. I think most of the people playing this game, are playing PvE. I don't think they're in there to kill. I don't think they're in there to PvP. All signs point to the community kind of leaning that way, right? That's where arcraiders gameplay leans. I believe that. I believe most of the player base, whether it's 55%, 60%, I'm not saying like the overwhelming majority, but I'm saying more than half of this player base is mostly playing in a PvE style way, in a friendly way, okay? What this means is your funnel for PvP is probably pretty overwhelmed with cheaters, because that's where all the cheaters are going to end up. Cheaters are not going to be in friendly lobbies. They're not going to stay there very long. They land in a friendly lobby, they're going to kill everybody in the lobby, and then they're going to get yanked into PvP lobbies. I mean, I think that's a pretty sound theory based on what they've said about aggression-based matchmaking, based on what we've seen in our own content, in our own, the feedback that we get from people, and what folks are saying they're experiencing. It's clear that that's where folks are going to land. Larian CEO says Divinity could have Gen AI assets in it, but only if the tools are trained on the studio's own data. If we use Gen AI model to create a game asset, it'll be trained on data that we own. Don't worry, the purity testers will find a reason to say they don't like that. You're still using it. Okay. It's perfect for marathon. Bungie is good at PvP, in my opinion. I mean, I think Bungie has a lot of institutional knowledge about PvP. I don't necessarily think you're going to get a whole lot of agreement that, like, Destiny's PvP has been historically very good. It's been a bit all over the place. So, I almost beat Quantum Error, but caught a bad save and had to start over. It's a 12 to 14 hour game. Why on earth were you trying to beat that game? The only thing good that you did was set the... Huh? The only thing good you did. Oh, the only thing good Bungie did was they set the precedent of suing cheaters to help their game. Oh, the precedent they set. I was like, what the heck are you saying? Okay, so you're saying Bungie set a good precedent by suing the cheaters. Yeah, I mean, I would say that is the right approach. Like I said, I think it's threefold. I think you go after the cheat providers, 100%. Go after them. Sue them into oblivion. Ruin them financially. It's what they deserve. The second thing you do is you do ban waves, but I think you wait to do ban waves. I think you institute Operation Quarantine. I think you do Operation Quarantine. You say, anybody detected cheating, we're going to quarantine these people. We're going to put them into servers with bots. The bots are going to be believable. The bots are going to seem like real players to trick a large portion of these cheaters. I said Code Violent. Oh, for frick's sake. It's Code Violet. Dang it. Can I edit the post? Why can't we no longer edit posts? I thought we could. Yeah, you can no longer edit posts. Like, I thought they gave us that ability. I must not be on the high enough tier to do it. I pay like the smallest amount just because it got absurd with like limitations on what you could do. And Risick comes in with a 10 bomb. Thank you so much, Risick. My son has a very good picture for you for your coffee order, Risick. My wife was like, here's a funny one. Who should get it? And I was like, give it to Risick. So it's not Code Violent. It's Code Violet. There we go. We'll just tweet it again with the appropriate name. Okay. There we go. Thank you for the 10 bomb, Rissick. Got us to 319. Splitting the player base looks like it would be risky. And a 5 bomb comes in from Jack Garland, and he gets us 1 away from 325. Who's going to secure it? Rissick secures it as they tag team us to the next milestone. Thank you, boys. I greatly appreciate that. We are going to need a big day. If y'all want Madam coming to the show tonight, she'll be doing reactions to gaming news. We will make her play Promise Mascot Agency. It will be a good time. I should also put bots in the normal lobbies and areas impossible to get to unless you're cheating. And if you kill them, you're put on a list. Yeah, I think that would be pretty good too. Like if they're going to mitigate getting outside the map, one good way you can mitigate getting outside the map is when people get outside the map, there's something there to kill them. And Rissick does another single gifted, and that is an Agent of Chaos. Thank you so much, sir. But yeah, I think you do Operation Quarantine. And Zubair made a joke. Operation Friendship 2, anti-friendship. That's right. Ironically, it's basically putting them in the gulag. Yo, what's good, Paranoid Merlin? How are you? If you guys are watching on Purple, and you want to get past those, things that interrupt the show, you can sub to the channel. You can use Prime or a normal sub, and you'll never see them. That's only on Purple, though. Oh, yeah, what did Corey say about stream sniping? We can have a little bit of a debate about stream sniping. What did he say? If you're streaming, then you're agreeing to show people where you are on the map. Stream sniping is disreputable, but not cheating. Yeah, I wouldn't say that stream sniping falls into the category of cheating where there should be, like, repercussions or consequences, right? Now, obviously, if you stream snipe and you intentionally, disrupt the game of another player, right? You follow them around and you, like, yell obscenities or something, and you're breaking, community guidelines of the game or something. Well, then there's repercussions for that, right? If you're using stream sniping as a means of being a troll or disrupting, and you're breaking the rules, that's fine. But the stream sniping itself is not breaking a rule. Yo, Travis says, thank you guys for the gifted subs. I wish I could afford a membership on my own. One day I'll get there. Hey, man, we're glad you're here. If you're here on the daily, you hit like, you lurk, and you listen. That's the lifeblood of the channel, man. Listening, lurking, and liking. That is huge. Speaking of which, guys, try to get us to 200 likes really quickly. I believe it violates several games' TOS. So you think stream sniping violates the game's terms of service? If you use a third-party program to get an advantage, that's cheating. Would using a stream be considered that? It's a bannable offense. Really? I didn't know that. I just assumed that was just kind of part of the world we lived in. I can't believe cheating is so big. Why can't companies come together and get them all the F out? I mean, they try. A handful of the cheat providers got sued by Bungie and are now gone. I don't know if any of those cheat providers are the ones, providing cheats for this game. But it certainly isn't an easy task. Easier said than done, my friend. Easier said than done. To just get the cheat companies out, My favorite person to listen to on my way to and from work. I appreciate that, Travis. Thank you. It falls under harassment. Thank you very much for the membership. You are welcome. If you guys are ever in a position to pay it forward and gift it to somebody else. If not, just enjoy the streams, enjoy the Discord, all the perks of being a member. I didn't realize it would quote-unquote fall under harassment, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. You're specifically targeting a streamer, by, watching their stream and then trying to get into their game and trying to go after them. I could certainly see that as something that they would say, we don't want people doing that. If you happen to end up in a streamer's game, that's not the same as targeting them and intentionally trying to find them. Find them and destroy them. I understand that stream sniping equals cheating sentiment, but the stream is a person deliberately sharing info about their play. Exploiting that would be harassment, but not really cheating. A streamer is showcasing their position by their own choice. Either cover your screen or prepare that everyone will know where you are. Right, but again, if it's against the rules, it's against the rules. From what I'm seeing, Riot banned it. Final Fantasy XIV banned it. I mean, I don't know if people in chat are self-reporting. Are y'all out here stream sniping, so you're defending it? You know, I'm not saying you guys are defending it. You said it was disreputable, but what's the line here? You're not allowed to attack streamers? Okay, so stream sniping is not just killing a streamer. Stream sniping usually comes in a pretty intentional and malicious way. So they show up in your game, they make it clear that they're sniping you, they make it clear that they're trying to mess with you. You know, they know where you are, they know what you're doing, they know what you have. They use that, you know, against you, right? And usually that's what stream sniping turns into. They don't do it once and then, like, have a giggle. They'll do it all day. All day. They find out where you are, they go to where you are, and they just spam you with stuff and make it impossible for you just to kind of, you know, enjoy a normal game, a normal, you know, immersion game. Here's the interesting thing. Placing blame on the streamer, I think, is interesting because the streamer is just showing their gameplay to entertain people. Somebody who takes the choice and time to go in and try to disrupt that, mess with that, and harm that, yeah, I would say they're the person that's in the wrong. Just streaming is, I mean, that streaming is benign. Are we excited about Code Violet? Reviews seem low so far. No, I told people to stay away from anything that company makes. They're a garbage company. They're frauds. They're not to be trusted. Don't buy anything they ever make. Like, you know what I mean? They're not to be trusted. I don't think you should buy anything that they make. This is now the second time they've done this. You want to snipe, I think that's an enter at your own risk situation, especially when devs' terms of service say things like, we can ban you for any reason, including no reason. Stream snipers intentionally attempt to get into their matches with the sole purpose of killing the streamer over and over. They do not play the game. They re-queue when the streamer dies and they do it again. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with it. Like, if it's, I'm of the opinion that if you don't want it in your game, and you want to make it against your terms of service to say, if you are going to, you know, watch a streamer to obtain information about their location, you know, we consider that to be a breach of terms of service. We don't want you doing that. You're attempting to ruin someone's experience. You're not just playing the game normally. You're trying to ruin the experience of another player. Big Evil with 34 months. So I played Ark. I've rated like 8 times. About 2 times I shot players in duos. Does that make my solo games like more kill hungry? I have no idea, Big Evil. Welcome back with 34 months. I appreciate it. Here, I'll add you and Luke to the total. There we go. More comments, because that's the important part. Hang on a second. Read the rest. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'll read the whole thing. So he said, stream snipers intentionally attempt to get into their matches with the sole purpose of killing the streamer over and over. They do not play the game. They re-queue when the streamer dies and do it again. They are not only ruining the streamer's game, they are ruining the lobby, period. There is no defense of this. Yeah, you have to consider the thing of, like, you also have to consider if they don't get into the streamer's game, they may just completely back out of whatever game they get queued into. Like, it's not good for the matchmaking either to have people doing this, like, basically only trying to queue in against the streamer. It's like giving someone your bank details. I can see both sides. If I am writing a check in the grocery store and I'm not careful and it's in clear view of the person behind me, and he writes down my information and he steals my money, I really need you to hear this. he's in the wrong. He's the criminal. I would be the victim. Okay? A streamer streaming their gameplay for the purposes of entertaining people, they're not fair game. Like, oh no, that's fair game. You can totally go in, disrupt their flow of play, basically cheat because you can see where they are and you can use that information to know where they are. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying they're a victim. In the example I gave, which is a hyperbolic example to prove a point. In that example, you know what I'm saying? You can't fault the person who let the information kind of sit there in view. You know what I mean? Millions of game lobbies ruined because of this behavior. Hang on, is somebody agreeing with Corey B&E says, but it's like giving someone your bank details. I could see both sides. No, I think I just completely no. Okay, I'll actually take your analogy and I'll take it all the way. Okay, if I give you my bank details to pay for an invoice, let's say I owe you because you painted my fence, and I give you my bank details in order to pay you. Okay, if I do that, and then you use my bank details to steal money from me, you are the one who did the wrong. Intent matters here. Because I'm not giving you my bank details like a dummy just because, hey, I'm just going to give this to you. Hopefully you don't steal from me. There's intention behind me giving you the bank details. There's intention behind the stream. The intention is to entertain people. That's the whole point. They're not streaming in some benign, dumb kind of a way. It's like, no, I'm putting on a show. I'm entertaining an audience. And you're coming in and you're taking that information and you're using that information wrongfully. Fair point, just trying to find an analogy. No, I appreciate where you're coming from. If I try to steel man your argument, you're basically saying, listen, if you're going to let people see your gameplay, that's the risk that you're taking, right? If you're going to drive around town with your bank details, on the side of your car, you expect people to steal your money, right? I get what you're saying. I do. I just think intention matters. Somebody is streaming with the purpose of being entertaining. They've got a platform, a brand, what have you. And you using that information in a malicious way, I don't think you can ever be like, well, that's just what streamers should come to expect. Yo, Team Ambush coming in with 31 months on a Member Plus, bumps a line to 329. Thank you very much. Game trailers only. Oh, they're responding to the criticism. The New Game Plus said, only interested in watching the game trailers. Here's a cut of the New Game Plus showcase that only features the game segments. That's a false equivalency. You are describing a crime versus playing a game. If you are playing a game and showing people where you are, showing people your location, you cannot expect that. No, it's not a false equivalency. I'm not saying it's equal in offense, Corey. So you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. So let me walk through this again. I am not saying the offense of stream sniping is equal to stealing money. That's not what I'm saying. Commonly when I make these analogies, people connect the wrong dots. Have you ever had one of those matching grids in a child's book where they're like, here's an outline of a truck, and you're supposed to connect the dots? People are connecting the wrong dots. If you heard me say that and you think, Reforge Gaming just argued that stream sniping is the same as stealing somebody's money. No, that's not what I'm arguing. The equivalency is the abuse of the information. That's the equivalency. I give you my bank information and you abuse the access to that information. You watch a stream and you abuse the access to that information. That's the equivalency. That's what I'm lining up here. I'm not saying the extremeness of this is equal. Stealing money. Stream sniping is just as bad as stealing money. Right? You could argue it's hurting the streamer monetarily because you're disrupting their ability to entertain. You're bringing the vibe down, which could drive viewers away, which could lower ad revenue for their day. So you could actually argue that you are harming their business. Like, I would argue that a stream sniper is civilly liable for harming the streamer's ability to entertain. Like, if you go in and heckle, what do? They kick you out. Why? You're disrupting the comedian's ability to put on a good show, which can hurt their livelihood. That can hurt their ability to make money. If they have a bad night and they bomb because you threw them off and were a jerk, well, now they might not get invited back, right? Similar idea. Like, you're coming in, you're trying to disrupt the entertainer in a malicious way. It's not equal to stealing, but I'm serious. Like, this isn't some benign thing. It's not just laughs. You're disrupting someone's business. I remember really early on, when I was doing more variety coverage, and I said something to the effect that, like, people, were attacking my brand, and they thought that was hilarious. These were content creators, by the way. And I'm like, you don't think you have a brand? You don't think you have something worthy of protection? Like, if somebody came out and said that you were swindling people or you were, laundering money through, you know what I'm saying? You would want to defend yourself. You'd be like, this is my business. This is my brand. Streamers are very much brands. They're businesses. And when you attack them like that, acting like, oh, it's just all laughs and it's just all fun, man, the repercussions for this sort of thing should at the minimum be a ban in the game. You're using the information and you're using it to be disruptive and you're using it to, mess with somebody else. That's not the point of the game. The game is not so that you can mess with somebody. The point of the game is to play the game. Eugene says the game has rules, just like laws, and the behavior violates the rules of the game. Violating the rules of the game to a specific degree is equivalent to cheating. Yeah, I kind of think I've been convinced this morning that stream sniping is cheating. I actually think it's equivalent to cheating. I do. If you're going to go into the game with information of a player's location by watching their stream with the intention of disrupting their gameplay, it's cheating. No question. It's public information. The streamer has the option to cover that information, but publicly streaming a game and not expecting the public to know where you are is insane. Okay, so public information, all right? It's public information that there is a painting company down on 3rd Street. Can you go with that public information and try and harass that place of business and mess with them and get in the way of customers? No, you're not allowed to do that. There would be consequences. There would be repercussions for you doing that. If you're like, well, it's public information, I know where your business is and I don't like you. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to get in the way of customers. And I'm going to harass your customers. And I'm going to tell them not to shop here. I'm going to hurt your pocketbook. You better believe there'd be consequences for that. The phone book used to give people's names, addresses, and phone numbers as public information. That wasn't an excuse for someone to stalk you. Yeah, you can't just take, oh, it's public information, that means I can do whatever I want with it. Absolutely not. Your behavior is not benign. Like, this argument, the argument you're putting forth in chat, it presumes that their behavior is benign. No, their behavior is not benign. It is with the intent to harm. It's actions with the intent to harm. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to mess with this streamer. I'm going to ruin their day. I'm going to harass them. Whatever you're going to do. You're going to talk on prox chat. You're going to teabag. Whatever. You can't be like, well, it's public information, so that's fair game. No, it's not. There's plenty of things that are public information. You don't get to use that information in a harmful way. Don't be naive. You can cover your screen for 4 to 6 hours and expect quality stream. I mean, streamers do what they can to minimize stream sniping. They do. They'll hide when they're queuing. You don't know what map they're going to. Sometimes they'll use a stream delay. It still happens. No, that interference you're referring to is torturous interference with a contract. It's attacking an existing relationship. You can stand outside and encourage boycotting. Yeah, but there's limits, right? You're not allowed to get in the way of the entrance. You're not allowed. I don't think you're allowed to like mess with the customers. Like if you like got in the way of the customer and didn't let them in the door and were like berating them and like yelling at them, you can hold up signs and say, "Don't shop here. You know, the owner is a D-bag." Okay. There is a realm within which you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to like freely assemble, and you're allowed to like, you know, let people know that, hey, you shouldn't shop here. I don't believe you're allowed to like interfere with like the entrance. I don't believe you're allowed to interfere with the actual business flow. Like people are trying to get into the business. The intention to basically disrupt their ability to make money. Stream sniping is essentially that. This guy's trying to put on an entertaining show. I'm going to match in there and I'm going to ruin his ability to do that. The law refers to calling your sponsors or Twitch. I'm not arguing with Lono now. I agree. I was just trying to see things from their point of view. But yes, the issue is intent. Yeah, no, and I appreciated what you said, B&E, because I understand where people are coming from. They're like, I get being a little shrug-shouldered about this. I can understand why somebody would be like, these streamers are millionaires. Like, who the frick cares? You're letting people see your gameplay, and if some little idiot's going to come into your game and cuss you out and kill you, you know, deal with it. The reality is, dealing with that day in, day out, just because they're wealthy and successful doesn't mean they're the public's punching bag. I don't agree with that. I don't like the dehumanization of content creators. Like, people that were doing that with Kai Cenat. Like, apparently he can't have mental health problems because he's wealthy. Like, how stupid is that? Like, he was dealing with mental health issues. People were so ridiculous in the replies. It's because he make a lot of money and he's popular. Apparently he can't have mental health problems. Like, have you ever looked at Hollywood? It's ripe with people on the verge of snapping. You know what I mean? Read my last comment. People know when they are being malicious. It's straightforward, but their mental rationalization tries to justify what they do to alleviate guilt. I can't see any other messages from you. I don't see your last comment, AOZ. I clicked on you, and that's your only comment today, it says. Stream sniping is griefing. Griefing that's hard to prove, but griefing. Usually a stream sniper makes it obvious that they're stream sniping. You know what I'm saying? I see it all the time with sports. Apparently millionaire athletes aren't allowed to have feelings. Yeah, yeah. You're not allowed to struggle or have mental problems if you're wealthy. I think that's usually just a self-report. Like, it's somebody who thinks, if I had all your wealth, I wouldn't have any problems. Hey, 2 orders of coffee came through. Guys, right now is a great time to order the coffee because it's so low on the price. 6 bags of dark to Mr. Zubair. And 3 bags of light and 3 bags of Frickmas. And he says, team, it's close enough. Thank you, Zubair, for stocking up on the coffee. I'll have the kids draw something extra special for you, brother. Yeah, the shut up and dribble attitude, exactly. There is a victim culture as well, though, which makes genuine cases not get the attention that they deserve. Listen, I understand why the public would bristle and get annoyed at streamers complaining. I get it. You look at them, they get to sit in some shiny studio and just rake in thousands of dollars a day. They're so wealthy, it's absurd. Some of these guys don't need to stream another day in their life. And hearing them complain about stream sniping and cheating in a video game, it's extremely easy for you to be like, who the frick cares? Why would anybody care about you and your stream sniping or cheating experiences? I don't understand. And we're back. I think we just switched ingest servers. Yeah, that hasn't happened in a really long time. Just refresh if you need to. We switched ingest servers. That hasn't happened in a super long time. Yeah. We've been good for... I think the last time we had to mess with the servers was It was like early December maybe, so I'm not sure. I'll tell you this, if you can hear my voice right now on YouTube, it might get audio glitchy and hitchy. Just refresh or leave and come back. That really, really hurts us. What it does is it makes the viewership look high and then really low because like everybody's refreshing and trying to fix it. Do me a favor and go crazy on the like button. See if you have a membership renewal. If you were going to gift today to try to help us hit the goal, now's a really good time to do that. We're going to need a bit of a bounce back. That always hurts us, and I hate that even happens. It's disruptive to the conversation. We were in a good flow of the convo. Yeah, so what I was saying is, I get it. I totally get it. If things aren't going well for you right now, you know, Zyber, thanks for 20 months over there on Purple. I appreciate it. We're at 330. We're exactly 20 away from 350. I don't get the public information wording being used to say it's not cheating. If you were at an NFL game and in the stands relaying information to your team about signs, it's cheating. Yeah. And a member plus comes in from Lazy Nerd. Thank you so much. Let me add that to the total. It's not cheating. Griefing affects everyone, not just streamers. Unless you want to grant them protective status, it's moot. Well, the reason this conversation started is Embark Studios has said they are going to put something in to arcraiders to help minimize stream sniping, and that really surprised me. Like, I'm kind of surprised they're going to do anything about it, because listen, I see this from both sides. A studio doesn't owe anything to the streamers. They don't owe you anything. However, you're in a bit of a symbiotic relationship, because if you've got hundreds of thousands of people watching Burnt Peanut or Ninja or Shroud or Nick Merckx or Nade Shot, whoever, you're watching them die to cheaters. Yeah, I might be having issues with my internet, because I think I just dropped frames for Twitch. Hopefully it's not me. Anyway, I don't know if that affected YouTube at all, but that was definitely a big one that affected Twitch. All you have to do is hide your screen. It's not hard to combat. No, but it is hard to combat because they know roughly when you're queuing. It's not hard for somebody to kind of figure out the delay, the time, it's not hard for people to figure that one out. It isn't. Okay, YouTube was fine. Okay. So you can't just hide your screen. So, I get it, but you can't have hundreds of thousands of people a week watching all these big streamers die to cheaters or die to stream snipers. It kills the vibe. If you're Embark Studios, you want everybody that's playing your game and streaming having a good time and laughing. It's why they didn't do a thing about the streamer war. They didn't get in the way. They didn't try to stop it. They didn't try to mitigate it, scold, none of that. They just let it happen. Why? People were having a good time. It was entertaining. Player numbers and player activity were probably up. If everybody's having a good time, that's good for business. That's good for the developers. I think the main reason big games like COD and Siege don't stop cheaters is they would lose a quarter of their player base and play the game all the time and pay for microtransactions. They lose too much money. I don't agree with that. They do massive ban waves if they didn't care. I think they know that cheating is actually more harmful to their bottom line than helpful. They know that cheaters drive people away. Cheaters drive people to say, I'm done with this game. I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm sick of this crap. Eugene put the definition of cheat in the Discord. To act dishonestly or unfairly in order to gain an advantage, especially in a game or examination. Right. You're clearly, when you're stream sniping, you're clearly acting dishonestly and unfairly. It's not an honest way to play the game. It's not a fair way to play the game. You're cheating. You know what I mean? If you're playing cards and your buddy's sitting in front of a mirror and you can see his cards in the mirror and you use that information, they're like, well, he sat in front of a mirror. It's like, yeah, you're using information that's visible. Doesn't mean you're allowed to use it in the way that you are. Guys, we need 16 more likes to get to 200 likes. Let's do it. I'm going to check something here. Okay. This football club has tons of cheaters, not stream snipers. They're on PC. That's why people move over to PS5, because there you can only be stream sniped if you're a streamer. I can agree it's dishonest, it's disreputable, it's bad. It's not cheating. So, okay, if we really then spell this out then, Corey, you think playing in a dishonest way is not cheating? That's like the definition of cheating. To play in a dishonest way, to have an unfair advantage because of that dishonest method that you're using, that is like the textbook definition of cheating. That's the definition. You're playing in a dishonest way in order to have an advantage. Like, that's the definition. It's like, that's literally it. Like, I'm not doing the fallacy of appealing to a definition. I'm saying that you're literally defining it that way. Boxing, the number one rule is to protect yourself at all times. It's on the streamer to protect themselves at all times. No, see, what you're doing is you're placing all impetus on the streamer, and I don't think that that's fair. I think the impetus also falls on the public. The public has access to the information. You can choose to do with it what you will. You're using their information in a dishonest way. You're going in, and you did not honestly figure out where they were on the map. You watch it on a stream. So you go over to where they are, and you know they're dug in, and you can throw something in the window or what have you and blow them up. Yo, Scotty B was 6 months. Welcome back. Let me add you to the total, 332. If you guys want Madden to be in the stream tonight, we've got a little bit of a ways to go. We've only been streaming for a little over an hour, so smash like, do all the things. They're giving their information. Right, but does that give you the right to use it in a harmful way? Like them giving the information, we've established that. Using the information in a harmful way, that's the issue. It's like, yeah, that's cheating. If you're watching a streamer and you're seeing when they click to load on the map that they are on, you're being dishonest to how the game is designed. It's cheating. That's exactly right. You're using outside information that has nothing to do with the game itself. Anyone defending this is saying that they suck and they have to cheat to do anything. Fuzzy says, did someone just victim blame streamers for getting stream sniped? Yes, I am playing Control today. Yep. I've got it all set up. I got a thumbnail and everything. It's scummy, but it's not cheating because you didn't hack them for their location. To you, it's cheating, but to the other guy, it's free real estate. You can't control what happens to the info that you out. Sure, but the game can have rules, and they can say that that's cheating according to their rules. It's not a crime. Well, I mean, you don't need to be... I mean, you can say that someone's a victim of something, and it's not a crime. Like... if somebody comes into your stream every day and harasses you and you keep banning them, well, you could say you're a victim of harassment, but that's not like a crime. You can't like put them in jail or like press charges. You know what I mean? I mean, you might be able to if you figure out who it is and you could actually put together a case to say these are all their accounts, here's all the things they said. But like, you would still say, yeah, that guy's a victim. Jiminy Christmas, they won't leave him alone. Man, she's a victim, they won't leave her alone. That word has a range of meaning. It doesn't necessarily mean that a crime has been committed. Victim implies crime? I think it implies crime when we're speaking about crime. A victim is a person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action. So you could be harmed. You like, because again, that's harmful to be harassed. Like it messes with your mental state and your mental health to be harassed every single day, right? It's upsetting. It can make a person feel unsafe. That's not a crime. That's an action that someone's taking. You could show up every day, follow me to work, show up every day and yell at me the whole time I'm walking to work and make me feel unsafe. And you haven't committed a crime. But I'm a victim of harassment at that point. Like, you won't leave me alone. Like, you're making me feel unsafe, right? Like, that's a completely fair use of that word. So, and again, I think what happens is words get associated with other things, right? So, phrases like playing the victim, victim complex, this all gets thrown around. So when you use the word victim, everybody's bringing all that baggage to the conversation. They're like, streamers aren't victims. I haven't tried to argue that they're victims. I have tried to argue that you are cheating if you stream snipe. It's that simple. You're using external information to have an unfair advantage in the game. That is cheating. Just because someone provides you with the information because they're streaming doesn't mean you're allowed to use the information in that way. Does that make sense? The information, and again, this comes back to intention. If I give you my bank information to pay for an invoice, that doesn't mean you can then use that information to steal money from me. The intention behind me giving you the bank information is clear. This is for the invoice. Charge me the $117 on the invoice. We're done now. The intention of the stream and the streamer letting people see them play is to entertain people. It's not so you can take the information and then stream snipe them. So we're playing a split screen game. Both people are automatically cheating because you can see the other screen in your peripheral. Yeah, split screen gaming is obviously a completely different topic because it just became unavoidable. You didn't even have to screen peek in GoldenEye. It was obvious when someone was going up the ramp to get the armor because you saw the yellow light. It was obvious when someone was in the basement. It was obvious when someone was in the room with the upper view in the temple for the rocket launcher. Like, you knew where they were even if you did not look at their screen. You just knew where they were. Nothing is being stolen when someone stream snipes. Bad analogy. No, it's a great analogy if you pay attention instead of focusing on the stealing. You're not focusing on what I said. You're focusing on the stealing. It's a fantastic analogy. It's an abuse of information. I give you the information and you use the information in a harmful way. I didn't give you the information for you to do that. The analogy is quite literally they're streaming and providing their location in the game so you can see what they're doing. Your misuse of that information is the problem. I'm not saying it's equivalent to stealing. We had this conversation already. I don't think you were here. It's not equivalent to stealing. It isn't. You're taking information that was given to you for a particular purpose and you're misusing that. Theft is a crime. Okay, you're stuck on the theft. You're not listening. So we're going to try this one more time. I'm not saying, listen very carefully, this is the most important part. I am not saying that stream sniping is equal to theft. I am giving you an analogy of information that is provided to you with intent and you use that information with ill intent. That's the equivalency. Streamers are providing their gameplay with the intention of entertaining. If you use that information with ill intent, that is wrong. You are cheating. I'm not saying they're equal to theft. The whole point of the analogy is the misuse of the information. It's like I'm giving you this information for a particular purpose. You use the information with ill intent to cause harm. That's it. Forget the theft thing. Just listen to that part. That's the most important part. Information's provided. The intention is A. You use the information for ill intent to harm me in some way. Like, you know where I work, and so you show up every day, stalk me, and harass me. Just because I provided you with the information of where I work doesn't mean you have a right to do that. Same thing with stream sniping. Just because they're streaming doesn't give the public a right to use that information in a harmful way. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I would never ever try to claim it's the same as stealing. Relativism is a terrible mindset. We have to have morals and standards. There are absolutes in life, otherwise chaos will reign. I mean, we don't need to get into a metaphysical argument about the existence of morality, above our natural existence. That's a completely separate subject. Cheaters are saying they aren't cheaters, says Rinsler. I had these same arguments with my brother when he would screen peek while we played Halo. Yes, but have you considered I'm mentally deranged? Guys, if you haven't done so already, we're close to 200 likes on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it very, very much. And thank you for the lively debate. Make sure you guys are chiming in every once in a while in chat to just say good morning or to say good afternoon or good evening. And then check your renewals if you've got a Prime. If you've got a renewal on YouTube, sometimes you have to hit the $sign to celebrate it. All I meant, Lono, is that wrong is wrong. Sure. You're trying to sort of zoom out into a bigger conversation about like metaphysics and morality, and that's I'm equipped to have that discussion, but that's not going to be productive today. With that definition, stream sniping is cheating, but there should be a reserve to what cheating really is: manipulation of the files of the game itself in a way that does things that nobody wants but cheaters. Yo, it's good, Ginger. Bro, quit watching me pick my plays. Now, that's old school cheating, Scotty. You know what I mean? How did you know the blitz? How did you know the blitz? You looked at my play. That's hacking. Correct. I agree with Zubair there. I think categorically there's a difference between cheating and hacking. See, what we're doing is we're needing proper categories. There is methodology, right? There's stream sniping. Even within hacking, there's different ways to hack. Wall hacks, aimbot, right? There's all kinds of things you can do. Okay? Methodology is not what's in debate. Classification is what's in debate. Stream sniping is a method of cheating. Hacking is a method of cheating. That, you see the difference? You're gaining an advantage in the game that you should not have. It's not natural to the game. It's not in the game itself. It's from outside the game. Zen controller, cheating or hacking? You see, what you're doing is you're cheating and hacking don't go side by side. Cheating is way up here, okay? I want you to picture a big banner up here, and it's called cheating. Now, beneath cheating, there's all these straight lines. There are multiple ways to cheat. You can stream snipe. You can hack. Now, under hacking, we've got a bunch of lines. Underneath hacking, you've got aimbot. You've got wall hack. You've got modded controller, zero recoil, stuff like that. All hacking is cheating. Not all cheating is hacking. Correct. Like there are ways to cheat that don't involve hacking. You know, a way to hack somebody into cheat in a game, you can knock them offline. There were people DDoSing. I forget what game had the DDoSing. Was that happening in Destiny? I think that was happening in Destiny. Is hacking always cheating? No. You could hack the game's files to fix a texture glitch, and you're not using it to cheat, but it might still get detected and you might still get banned. Like, there could be some kind of a texture glitch that's causing you frustration. Maybe it's causing a stutter or something, or a flicker. And so you go in and you hack the game's files, you modify the game's files to remove that. That's not cheating. Like, underneath hacking, that would fall under, like what Paul's saying. That's like modding. Because modding a game is essentially hacking the game. Like, you're going in and hacking the game's files and you're modifying them. But it's not cheating. Modifying the game's files with the intent to enhance or fix something isn't cheating. Now, you could go in and hack the game's files to create absurd levels of like lighting and contrast that gives you an unfair advantage. You can see players at greater distance or something. That's something they're going to have to fix in arcraiders. I saw a video already of somebody doing that. They basically go in and they essentially command line the game to create just an absurd level of contrast in the game, and it gives you greater visibility at distance and an unfair advantage. Like, they need to put a stop to that as well. Okay, stream sniping is cheating. I'm convinced. Okay, chat, weigh in. We've been debating it back and forth for a while. Yes or no? Is stream sniping cheating? Yes or no, chat? Weigh in right now. I'm curious what you guys think. We got some questions that have been submitted. I'm going to get to those as well. One from Bumble Pants and one from Perfect Image. All right. Hilly says yes. Let's see what YouTube ends up saying here. Everybody weigh in. I want to see the chat just humming right now. All right. I got one no from Ghost Wolf. I got one no from Giga Coops. One no from Barrett's Champion. You know what? You guys saying no, I respect it. You're like, no, I've not been convinced. I respect it. I don't agree with you, but I respect it. You're not going with the crowd. I like that. Perfect Egg says maybe. There's always one. There's always one of you in every group. Maybe. The frick out of here. I asked a yes or no question. You son of a gun. Omar says, perhaps. Frickin' lawyer. Yes, and it's concerning it's even a debate, says Eugene. Do a poll. Oh, people hate polls. They hate it. I feel it's more harassment. Well, crowded house, it can be both, can it not? It can be both. You can stream snipe someone and still not even interact with the person. Oh, for sure, but a successful stream snipe, I think, yeah, you're cheating. Yes. Having a poll is cheating. Teller says, only a bum cheater tries to claim otherwise. That's right. Let me show you guys something that you can do that's really cool. And if you're a member or a sub on Purple or a member on YouTube, you can submit a question. You don't even have to submit a question. You can use the question command. Just submit a comment and I can react to it, respond to it if you got a strong opinion about something. Bubble Fan says, what are the highlights from the New Game Plus show yesterday? I struggled to watch the replay as it dragged on and on. To their credit, I love Jake, Lucky, and Hunter, right? The rest of them I haven't ever really interacted with, but I like Jake and I like Hunter. Okay. And to their credit, they have really received the feedback well. They're not being combative. They're not trying to defend themselves. They're like, we get it. The pacing was bad. We'll do better next time. They've already uploaded a version of it that's just nothing but trailers. Good on them. Good on them. They got a little excited and they wanted to do a cool show, and they thought, this will be really relatable, and we'll do like a little friendly like podcast breakdown after every like 4-game segment. It made the event way too long. 3.5 hours is extremely long. Even if it's just nothing but trailers, that's really exhausting. Like, it really kind of hurts the games at the end because everybody's kind of worn out. So I applaud their effort to do something cool. I think production value was very good. Pacing and editing and all that wasn't, because it was just too much talking and not enough of the games. They've accepted that feedback very well, and I told you guys they would. I said, I know their personality. I don't think any of these guys are going to come out and be jerks and combative and be like, well, do your own show then. I knew they were going to receive it well and be like, we're going to do better next time. There was no way that any of them could watch it back and not see that, okay, this was not set up in the best way. And listen, I think they could use all those segments later. You know? They could use all those segments later. I like hearing people like that talk about games. It's enjoyable to get different perspectives. Luke Stevens is like an encyclopedia about developers. He'll be like, yeah, this company, they worked on thus and so, and they've got a guy in the art department, and he worked on this project. Like, he's really, really good at that. I think that's why people like watching his content. He's just like, just off top of his head, he's like pulling all this information in about the developers, right? And so I liked that, but I would like that to be not in the showcase. Like, I would watch that later. Oh, here's them breaking down this new game or what have you. Like, you almost want to put that on in the background and just kind of like listen to it. It just didn't work in the showcase environment. So I think they could help the show get more attention and more feedback and more eyes by having those types of segments uploaded later. You know, after the showcase, you can slowly roll those things out. Here's our reaction to, you know, Blood of the Dawnwalker. And, you know, give it a POV. You know, give it a POV so people actually want to click. I'm giving them some of the inside baseball here of how to get people to click on your videos, right? They don't need my help. They know how to do this. But like, instead of just saying, here's our reaction to Blood of the Dawnwalker, establish a POV. Like, one of you has a hot take, one of you's got a statement, put that on the thumbnail and have the group debate it, and then put that video out there. What you're doing is you're giving people that are interested in Blood of the Dawnwalker content to pay attention to. They might sub to your channel. They might watch your showcase in the future, right? Put shorts out there. Their little hot takes were great. I thought it went on for too long, and I would have loved to see them debate some of their hot takes that opened up the show. But they could have taken those hot takes. They could have been putting those out as shorts before the event went live. Again, you're getting people excited about your event. You're getting people interested in you and your organization. I think they could do a lot of good things with the group they have and the POV that they have. Just, you know, don't make us watch a miniature podcast every 4 games. Don't make us watch a miniature podcast every 4 games. So, yeah, I think they'll be fine, and they want to do one where they like go on site and interview developers, and you know. So, yeah, and I knew they would. You know, it's why I put out my feedback right away. I was like, you know what? I was like, I bet you Jake and these folks are gonna be like, yep, we hear you. We'll do better next time. You know, that's the best posture to take when you're making content like that. You know, it's something I've tried to do as well. You know, we have Green Room, and I try to be about as receptive as I possibly can to feedback and people saying, do this more, do this less, you know, that sort of thing. And that can be hard because like you're part of the content. You can feel like it's a personal affront on you, you know. They should have just did the podcast parts at the very end. I don't even think you'd want to do it at the end because then it's just at that point your viewership's just going to just go like that. I think it's better to do a real quick interview, right? Maybe have one of the hosts with the hottest take say something. Be like, man, I don't know. I think this game could be a front runner for Game of the Year. You know, and everyone's like, oh, really? And then you put it down at the bottom. Want to see the full debate? Watch the video later. And then you go right to the next segment. What you're doing is you're planting seeds for the idea of like, we've got more content. We're going to debate this game. You plant that seed in the showcase, and then you move on. I think that would be fine. You know, trailer. When you think there's a bigger game or a hotter take that you want to kind of plant that seed after, and then like, hey, you know, we've got the full interview available, and then we've got the round table kind of debating the game, you know, later as well. Have you same thoughts on Crimson Desert? So Luke Stevens said something that made me think, okay, because I feel like the developers have said something similar, like that they've got something that they basically built the game and the engine and all the tools with the purposes of Crimson Desert kind of looking the way that it does. I still feel like it's incredibly ambitious. I still feel like it's going to struggle on consoles. It just looks too good to be true. Some of the footage we've even seen recently, I think their most recent outing, you could tell that graphically, lighting, shading, textures, character detail, they had already toned some of it down. I think they're going to have to do some degradation. I don't think it's going to look exactly like it did in some of those early trailers. And I don't know where Luke was playing when he said it's impressive, it runs great, it looks great. I don't know if he was playing on like a really good PC. Was he playing a vertical slice that can kind of trick the player? Because you think, wow, this looks and runs incredible, but you're playing a vertical slice that can, you know, sort of hide the rough edges of the game itself. So we'll see. We'll see. I still wonder if it's going to look and run that well on console. That's been my concern since the beginning. We'll know very soon. It's coming out in March. So I always would prefer to be cautious and skeptical about a game that looks a little too good to be true than to get hyped and then to be upset. Like, there's been a handful of games that kind of fall into this category. There's another one, Tides of Annihilation. I'm worried about performance. I was worried about performance in Wu Chang Fallen Feathers when I saw the trailers, and I was right to be. The game had performance troubles at launch. It still doesn't run all that great. Its performance mode isn't all that pretty. So I think there's plenty of reasons to be concerned about Crimson Desert's performance, fidelity, and all of that. Hopefully what Luke said is representative of the product, and he didn't go to some capture event where, he played a version that isn't wholly representative of the final product, because that's happened before, and you can't fault him or anybody else for that. You would fault the company for that. He's doing exactly what I wanted to do. He's very knowledgeable about the same things. Yeah. That's one thing. Anytime I've seen a clip of him, or even in the thing last night, that's the one thing. I can't do that. I don't have that knowledge. Like, his ability to just be like, and maybe he just does tons of research. I don't know. I think he just kind of sits and moves in these worlds of developers, and he just remembers, like, oh, that's the company that made this, or that's the guy that did this, and he just kind of remembers those things. I think in some realms I can recall stuff like that, but I spent 5 years just kind of playing and covering Destiny, so I don't have as big of like a backlog of like, gaming world or, coverage on developers. When it comes to certain things, I can recall things like right off the top of my head, like with like the ABK stuff, because we covered that extensively. But when you spend 5 years living and breathing Destiny, I can tell you all about that. I can't tell you about anything else at that time, because, I was always just knee deep in Destiny 1 or 2. So different paths as creators, kind of leads to different levels of expertise, different areas of knowledge. So if you guys haven't hit subscribe yet on YouTube, consider doing that. That does help me out, and then I'll be, on your homepage throughout the week whenever I'm doing these streams. We stream Monday through Friday. It is safe for work, and we are working on a pretty big goal for the week, and it's within reach. I think it's within reach. I got a bunch of one more piece of feedback to the team over there at New Game Plus. Can we not use music that's copyright claim riddled? I don't get that at all. I don't know why they would have done that. You're all creators, and you know how frustrating it is to cover an event, and then when the event is over, you get hit with like 10 copyright claims. It, to me, is bewildering why they did that. I don't understand it at all. If I was in control or a part of a team or anything, any kind of an event like that, I would be like, let's use all copyright-free music. So anybody that co-streams the event, it's going to increase the reach, the influence, and the impact of our event. If you've got some streamer with 100,000 subs and he's showing everybody your event, and then his past broadcast gets riddled with copyright claims, that's not good for your event. It isn't. Because as soon as that happens, the reach of his past broadcast gets minimized because it's no longer monetized until he can go through and mute every single copyright claim. So if you're going to do an event by creators and you want other creators to cover the event, co-stream it, and help increase the reach of your event, don't use copyrighted music. It's very, very easy to do. I mean, you can create an entire soundtrack with AI. You know what I mean? We don't need to be using copyrighted music. Creator-run event using music creators can't use. Make it make sense. Probably just another misstep. Somebody just either wasn't thinking bigger picture. Maybe I don't know. I could think maybe they're like, oh, we want people watching us, so if all those VODs get hit with copyright claims, that's not a big deal. They'll all come to the original video. I mean, that's maybe that's the strategy, but I don't know. I would think that you would want as many people watching as possible. It doesn't really matter where they watch. You want increased brand awareness, especially in the early days. Yeah, use royalty-free music. It's not that hard, yeah. I don't know if it was trailers that they used. I don't think it was. A lot of the claims I got were during, like, the opening segment where they were doing hot takes. And I was like, there was not a trailer. Like, if somebody sends you a trailer and you want them to be in your show, and they send you a trailer and they use copyrighted music, there's nothing you can do about that. I'm not telling them to, like, go back to the developers and, like, demand copyright-free trailers. But I was getting hit with claims during segments where they were in control of the music. And I'm like, that doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. I don't know why you would do that for, this is a creator-led event. So, hang on. Perfect Image has a question. Is it wrong to use a flaw in the code to loot and not kill users? You would need to expound on what you're explaining, or what you're asking, I should say. If you're using an exploit, sorry, Asacross just hit my feed. He got a community guidelines warning for nudity and sexual content. I can't read what he said. In any case, yeah. Any type of exploit is wrong. Where AFK farms in Destiny cheating. I believe there is a difference categorically between cheating and exploiting. And developers have different philosophies on this, right? Bungie always took the posture of exploits are on us. It's on us to fix exploits, right? If people use loot cave exploit, whatever exploit they find, we're not going to ban them, okay? Other companies take a different posture. Anthem started banning people for exploits. I think they walked it back. But there are, there are studios that take that hardline stance. They're going to ban you if you do an exploit. I believe in New World. There was like the boar farm that people were doing and some chest farm somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. But they weren't banning people for that. They were trying to shut it down. So they would try to shut down the exploit. They wouldn't ban you. So it really is game to game. Some games take a hardline stance on exploits and they will absolutely ban you right then and there. An example of a bannable exploit is, oh, there's a hole in the map. I can get outside the map. I can kill players from outside the map. That's like a bannable exploit, okay? An exploit to get into a room without a key and to get loot from the room without a key, that's probably like give them a warning and then they close the exploit. I think they started like burning people that did it. Like it would like light you on fire if you tried to do it or whatever. So I think there's levels of severity of an exploit. There's an exploit that might let you finish a strike more quickly. You know, maybe you're sword surfing, or there's a way that you can like hit a glitch that like launches you all the way to the end of the strike or something. Okay, that's not really worthy of a warning or a ban or anything. But then there are exploits where you get outside the map and you're ruining the experience for other people. That's probably worthy of a warning or a ban, because it's like, you know what you're doing, you're gaining an unfair advantage, you know, we're going to give you a warning or we're going to give you a ban or something like that. So it really depends on whether there is a meta economy in the game. If legendary shards translated into power, Bungie would have been more strict. For sure. For sure. I think in general, you know, the discussion we've been having, we don't need to overbake the cake. I think we've established it, and most of us agree, that stream sniping is a form of cheating, And I'm actually interested to see what exactly they're going to do to help streamers minimize stream sniping. Like, I'm curious. I'm actually, like I said, I'm kind of surprised that they even spoke to it. I am. I'm surprised they even spoke to it. So, we'll see what they do. Now, we had other news stories. We did. We had other news stories to talk about. I don't know if I'm going to have timestamps for these or not. But this one's probably worth talking about for at least a little bit, because I know people were concerned about this one, and I think it was completely fair to be concerned. Like, just the other day, I said I was concerned about Fable, right? So Fable is not just going to be at the Xbox Developer Direct. They are going to be doing a deep dive, okay? And this is what they had to say on Twitter. We've been working on Fable for a really, really long time. It's time to show you more, much more. Tune in to Developer Direct at 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. GMT on the 22nd of January for our first deep dive into the game. Now, I don't want to read too much into first deep dive. I don't know if that means they're going to do another one. They could just be literally saying, yeah, we haven't done one yet. This is the first time. We're finally doing one, okay? It could indicate that maybe there's going to be another one. I don't know. Maybe they want to do a deeper dive in the summer. I would love for Fable to get its own direct at the summer Xbox showcase that they do. I think that'd be great. And I really hope this is a sign that the game is coming this year. I do. Now, if we go and we look at the actual footage, because they released that alpha footage of Fable, I actually think Fable alpha gameplay, I actually think it looks promising, right? This obviously is not what they showed us in the trailers, okay? Her moving around on the horse, this is the best stuff right here. The combat needs a little bit of work, okay? A little stiff. She's a little rigid. She's a little bit on rails, but it shows a ton of promise. And I think the fight with the monster is the one that shows the most promise. It's like, okay, this could be a really, really celebrated and solid game, RPG. Now, people are going to have to get over the fact, like, seems like the game is going to have a protagonist, like you are going to have to play as the girl, which we'll have to deal with all those wonderful conversations. But this is where you can see kind of the potential of the game starting to rear its head, all right? There's some timing going on here with a block, and then a sidestep back, like a sidestep to the side as well, a dash back and a sidestep. I think it has potential. I do want to point out every time this comes up that when they revealed that footage, it, very, very strongly confirmed that what they had shown up to that point was not gameplay. It was simulated gameplay, which I would continue to hope that companies would move away from doing that. But that doesn't mean that the game looks bad. I think the game looks good. I think it looks very promising. And the Developer Direct could really elevate Fable into a game that I'm more heavily interested in. It really could. It could really ratchet up my interest. Because right now I'm like, okay. But if you got a release date, if you've got really good looks at the gameplay, and I mean raw gameplay, I'm there. I'm like, okay. My excitement for the game could significantly increase. What if you tell those dudes that it's a man transitioning to a woman? That would make them happy. Yes, that would solve all the issues. Yeah. Oh, it's not a woman, it's a man, That would tidy the whole thing up. That would end the debate. I think that would end the anti-woke war. It really, really would. That'd be a new era for all of us. I don't care about the gender. I don't like the protagonist in Fable. The more I've watched it, I think she looks great. I think she looks like the actress. I think the actress is gorgeous. Everybody's got different opinions. That's fine. But the original trailer and what she looked like in the original trailer looks nothing like what she looks now. I think she's 1-to-1 the actress. If you look up the actress's face, I think, you know, she's got a great look, the freckles, all of it. But everybody's got different opinions on that. Also, when people play an RPG, I will say this is fair criticism. When people play an RPG, there is often the expectation of making your own character. However, there are games like The Witcher where you don't make your own character. You play as Geralt, and then in the upcoming Witcher, you're going to play as Ciri. Okay? So there's certainly room within Fable to be an RPG where, like, no, this is the character that you're going to play as. I get it. That's never been a thing in Fable. What's never been a thing in Fable? My memory of Fable 3 is, didn't you just, like, pick guy or girl, and that was pretty much it? You choose a sex and change over time. Yeah, my memory of Fable 3, I remember playing that. Me and my buddy would play it and hop in a party and kind of talk about what we were doing. I just remember picking a guy. And then I remember I could, like, change. I could go into, like, a wardrobe room and, like, change his outfit and stuff. I remember doing that. I vaguely remember doing that. So, and yes, there are growing rumors, statements, whatever, that Fable is coming to PlayStation. Listen, these aren't rumors anymore. I don't think games are going to launch exclusive for Xbox any longer. I just don't think they're pushing for that. Matt Booty made it pretty clear that if something launches exclusive for them and then comes to PlayStation later, it's basically because of a production issue. Like, it's not like a policy going forward for them to be like, well, we're going to stagger releases, right? They're not going to, I don't think they're going to do that anymore. If a staggered release happens, Matt Booty seemed to indicate, like, if that happens, it's probably a production issue. It's not like a business strategy for them any longer to be like, nope, we want this to hit Xbox first. Like, if you remember, the CFO said, you know, first, better, or best. That is completely gone. It's not going to be first. I don't know how it can be better or best if it's everywhere, because that's subjective. It could potentially run better and look better on the Pro. It could potentially run better and look better on a PC. I don't know. I do wonder if Fable is going to broach. Are they going to broach the subject of character creator? Because I think that's a question people have. It's an RPG. You know, I personally think they would do themselves a lot of favors. And I hate to say it, we don't want people to feel like they got a victory here. I think they would do themselves some favors by having a character creator. I do. You just get to avoid that conversation entirely. Nobody can do anything. Nobody can say anything. Nobody can complain, right? Just give them a character creator and be done with it. If they don't have to play as the girl from the trailers, you know, I guess they could complain that, you know, the body type, say body type A or B instead of like male and female. But outside of that, it's like Quarantine Lono. It's okay if they got the win, if it ends up being a benefit for us. Right. If it just quiets that, debate that just isn't needed and just basically says, pick male or female and let's be done with this. Let's just get into the game. Let's talk about the things that matter, you know, the gameplay, the story, the dialogue, the graphics, the combat, the light, like the world, the tone, the vibe. Like, let's talk about those things. Instead of all this other stuff. Like, I would celebrate that. I would absolutely celebrate that. Let's get out of the needless debates about these things and just start talking about, like, what makes for a great game. Let's just get back to that. Do the Mass Effect approach. Have a default male and female, but allow you to create your own character. Yeah. I think within an RPG, that's completely acceptable. I think sometimes it makes sense to not do that, like in the case of The Witcher. But I think generally speaking, Fable seems like the kind of game... Fable seems like the kind of game that you would just pick your character. So, A lot of people tuning in all of a sudden. Not sure where you're coming from, but if you're interested in the subjects today, we have a variety of subjects. We were talking about arcraiders. We were talking about cheating in arcraiders, and we are now kind of talking about Fable. It seems that Fable is coming this year. It seems that Fable will be, you know, one of the big parts of the developer direct. It's going to be their first deep dive. What's the issue now? There's no issue, but people were definitely saying, I don't want to play as a girl. It's an RPG. You know, I would like a character creator. And I actually think it's probably best just to give people the character creator, given the genre of the game and given the whole point of the game. I would say that would just make sense. There were rumors and there were like indications that no, that's who you're going to play as. She's the protagonist. I have no problem with that. I don't. I have no problem with playing as Ciri in the new Witcher. I have no problem with playing as like this girl in Fable. That doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't. In certain games, it makes sense to let me make my own character, you know, like an MMO or an RPG where from the very beginning you're picking like, you know, class, race, background, all of that. You know, I think those games, it makes sense to do that. If in Fable, they're not really doing that, you know, at least let people pick man or woman. But there's a part of me that thinks they didn't have time for that. Maybe that's part of the delay. I don't know. But if you look at the game and the trailers and all the work that's been put into it, it does really seem like she's the main character. Like, look at the cutscenes. Just track with me here. Do you think they have different versions of all those cutscenes to put your character in there? Like, the cutscenes look like a real person. You know what I'm talking about? Like, let me just show you. Like, I don't think they would redo all these scenes. I don't think you redo this. Like, he's a character in the game. He has a name. They put his name up at the beginning. Humphrey. So he is a character in the game. He has a name. Okay? And then she, like, you think they're going to refilm this scene and put a dude there? I just don't know. I don't think so. I think they are. To me, they're indicating she's the main character. That doesn't bother me at all, but it definitely is something that will become, you know, a point of contention and complaint. It already is a point of contention and complaint from people. Anytime a game like this comes out, that's like one of the first questions that people ask. Why do I have to play as a girl? That's a common thing. I'm kind of tired of having that discussion, so I wouldn't mind if they had a character creator. You know, I wouldn't mind if they said pick guy or girl at the beginning. But based on how this has been set up and filmed in scenes like this where she's walking around with him like this, unless they have two preset characters and these scenes they just put in the guy instead. But this to me definitely gives like slight Witcher vibes of like, this is the character, this is the person that you play as in this world. All these scenes and things have been filmed with her in it. I don't know. Because if you go back to the original trailer, you know, some of the earliest trailers, they're all doing that thing. They're all making it about the characters. They're making it about him. They're making it about, you know, the guy from the IT crowd who's like the giant. So I'm not trying to bum anybody out. But that's... If they made her super attractive, no one would be complaining as a woman. These super straight bros just want to stare at the backside of a dude for 50, 60 hours in their third-person games. Let them have that. Why do I need to play as a girl? Right. Yeah. Anytime that happens, I always say, did you say that when you had to play as a guy in Tsushima? Did you say that when you had to play as a guy in The Witcher? Like, When you don't get to change your character in games, it only really seems to be a problem when it's girl. And I think it's fine. If you're going to play Horizon Forbidden West, if you're going to play Tomb Raider, if this character in Fable is the main character, I think that's totally fine. You know? I think that's totally fine. I think plenty of games, that's the way that it's set up. You know? You had to play as Atsu and Yote. You know? You had to play as Norman Reedus in Death Stranding. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the vision for the game. It's the story that they're telling, you know. Generally speaking, I think stories they tend to be, and this is just my opinion, but they tend to be more powerful when you have a main character and everything kind of orbits around that character, instead of like, you know, like, and again, that's not the purpose of some stories or some games. I mean, is to have like a super strong story. It's to be a role-playing game, to let you, you know, make your own character and make your own choices. None of those games have a history of character creation, though. Right, but Silent, a lot of the times these conversations happen, they happen in games that don't have a history of character creation. It happened with Ghost of Yote. People are like, well, why do I have to play as a girl? It's like, the game doesn't have a history of character creation. Why are you asking that question? Now, Fable, as I understand it, and my memory of it when I played Fable 3 is, you don't have a character creator. You just pick man or woman. Kind of like somebody was saying like in Mass Effect. I feel like in Mass Effect 3, couldn't you kind of change the way that you looked, though? I feel like you could. I don't know. You know, Fable is made by Xbox, so it's going to be slop. Well, it's made by Playground Games, and I think they have a pretty good track record, so I don't know if I necessarily buy into that. You know, Gears of War E-Day, I don't think is going to be slop. That's coming from the Coalition. You can change hairstyles, tattoos, clothing. I totally support you if you say you only want to play as an attractive man, but that support goes away when you whine about games that have dumpy female leads. You eat according to your taste. You don't dictate. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Oh, you could make adjustments? Okay. If Fable has a history of character creation, I could understand, and I think I would even say, like, I get it. People being sort of upset by the fact that, like, hey, now I don't get to do that. I have to just play as this character. I'm looking forward to it. I hope all these games are great, but time will tell. Yeah, I am very open to the Fable deep dive compelling me and getting me excited, because, like, I'm a little tentative. Because we heard rumors they were having trouble with the engine. They said no, they weren't. I think it's reasonable to think that they did have some challenges with the engine, because the Forza Tech engine has never been used in this way. Like, which do you think is more believable? They took the Forza Tech engine to make Fable, and they encountered zero problems. Do you think that's more likely, or do you think it's more likely that they took the Forza Tech engine to build Fable, and they ran into some problems and some challenges? Like, which do you think is more likely within the realm of development? I think it's way more likely that they ran into issues. That doesn't mean the game's in trouble or that they don't know what they're doing, but it's like, if I'm a betting man, I would not say, oh no, yeah, they had no trouble at all with this. This is the history of the systems. Morphing. The morph system is a system in the Fable series that alters the player's character and other aspects throughout the game. There are 4 general morphing systems. So if they have a system and a history of customization, I do think it's a little strange if they go this route where she's the character and that's just who you play as. I do think that'll be interesting. I don't think it'll be received well by everybody. I think there'll be people that complain. Forcing people to play as an ugly character seems like an unforced error. Maybe she becomes more and less attractive based on game choices. Would you argue that you don't think she's attractive? So do you think in the latest trailers, in the first trailers, I will readily admit that she looked a little bad. Okay, I will readily admit that. But like, would you argue like that right there on that thumbnail? You think that that's ugly? I think it's subjective, but I don't think that's ugly at all. Maybe you're not into freckles and full eyebrows, but I am. I mean, I don't know. Ugly is a personal read. Well, and if you look up the actress, we've kind of done this before. Fable girl actress. The original complaint was that she didn't look like the actress. So don't goalpost shift on this, okay? The original complaint was she doesn't look like the actress. Well, now she does. The original trailer, she looked a little rough. I think that that's fair. It was not a trailer that was necessarily really ready for public consumption. I have a sneaking suspicion that anybody who thinks she's ugly, I feel like if she walked up to you looking like that and asked for your number, you'd probably be pretty excited. I feel like you'd be pretty excited. You'd be like, "Oh wow, yeah. You know, she's a cutie. You know, she's got that freckle thing going on." But the original complaint was people circulated pictures of her and they said the character doesn't look like her. The character looks like her now. So I don't get the complaint. Now, sure, she's not in a glamour shot studio with perfect lighting and, and her hair did, but, she's out there fighting and she's, in a medieval time period, but it looks like her. So if you're going to shift the complaint away from, well, now that it looks like her, I'm now the problem is that I don't want to play as a girl, right? I would say, what? Here's another one. I'm telling you, the original complaint was she doesn't look like the actress. She undeniably now looks like the actress. So if you move the goalpost and you complain about something else, then I would say that the argument is probably not in good faith, and it never was. People love this picture. This is a dream if you're wanting to do the whole they keep making characters ugly. This face is on so many thumbnails, right? Not the new face, not the update, right? Not that old trailer. They're not putting the new ones on the thumbnails. They're putting that one on the thumbnail. That's it. That's the thumbnail, mate. That's it. And then there's that, and then the one of Aloy where they made Aloy look fat. You know what I mean? I can pretty much assess the quality of a channel by their willingness to use that picture from Fable or the chubby photoshopped Aloy pictures. I'm like, I know what I'm gonna get here. I think a lot of dudes telling themselves by what they say isn't pretty. You say that out loud enough, women hear you too. Friends, family. It's true. It's true. Guys, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Fable. I'm excited to see more on the 22nd at the Xbox Developer Direct. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. Try to get us to 300 likes. We are going to be doing a gameplay stream today. I wanted to show people Control. If you haven't played that game yet, I think it's well worth playing before the sequel comes out. So I'm at a good spot in the game. If a woman doesn't look like a top model in a video game, many will say she's ugly. So I remember when we were talking about Call of Duty and why I started to feel like the campaigns were boring, right? It was all so boring because I felt that everything was turned up to an 11 all the time. It didn't matter where you went or what you were doing. It was bombardment, it was gunshots, it was explosions. Okay? A $10 super chat from the OA. Abby and T-Loot 2. She can't be that buff in a zombie apocalypse. Fable girl in Fable. How come she's in medieval times and she doesn't have her eyebrows done? Right? They only invoke realism when it's convenient. Right. Anyway. But I do think like that 11 bombardment, lots of gunshots in Call of Duty, it made the intensity of Call of Duty start to fall flat. Like it didn't feel intense anymore. And I would think that sometimes that is true in these conversations. If you're constantly looking at images or characters in games that are basically flawless, perfect 11s, everything is, buxom and bouncing and, basically they're a walking Instagram filter. What's going to happen is if something breaks from that, you think it's bad. Like if the character's like an 8, like they're cute, they're cute and not half naked. To you, that's like an offense. It's kind of like if you've ever been sitting in a hot tub and then you go get in the pool. Well, the pool could be tepid, it could be lukewarm, it could be very comfortable water. But when you're coming from really, really hot water, that water's going to feel cold. I think that's what's happening. It's like you're coming from such a high saturation, such an elevated, like everything's turned up to 11, everything's jiggling, everything's half naked, everything looks sort of like airbrushed. You're going from that to a character who's like, well, yeah, they're cute and they're not half naked. And you're like, well, that's ugly. You see? It's like the lack of it being an 11 makes it feel like an 8 feels like a 3. Does that make sense? It's like, well, they're like an 8. They're cute. They've got clothes on. They're not walking around like a swimsuit model. So the 8 feels like a 3 because you're used to an 11 all of the time. Just every game you play, everything you open, everything you look at, your brain's just like, I need that. If it's below that, that's an offense to me. I do. I think that that's a lot of where this comes from. I don't know how you can take someone like that seriously. It poisons what a dev is trying to do with the story. What are you referring to specifically? Crispy Bogod with 52 months. Happy Friday, my dude. Let's get some Friday farty bombs. Hey, guys. Crispy Bogod's asking for some Friday farty bombs. You're going to need it if you guys want gaming news tonight. If you want that with Madam. If you want her hanging out here and reacting to gaming news. And then she's going to have to play Promise Mascot Agency. Hang on. Zubair said something. This is not shade. It's hard out there. But there are times in these convos when I feel like people are revealing they've never spent time with the woman when she's backstage and just a person. And Crusader responded, it's a video game. While we want regular person in a video game, we don't want average guys in games either. Do we want average girls? It's a fantasy. Why not have the best? I don't agree with you. I think intention of the art matters, homie. Like if I would have played The Last of Us, and if Joel would have looked like a chiseled, muscular model, and if every character he interacted with also looked like that, it wouldn't have been believable, right? It would have been a little absurd. If you were watching like The Walking Dead, and Michonne was like running around in a push-up bra with tons of cleavage, and the girls were like, there are some pretty girls in The Walking Dead, but like they were running around basically like scantily clad so that you could kind of like, ooh, look how hot they are. It would have been weird. It would have been like, what this is immersion breaking. It can break the immersion of the story. Like not everybody can look like Eve in Stellar Blade. I think this is a constructive conversation to have every now and again. We've not had it in a while, and I think it's helpful to have this conversation sometimes. I don't think Horizon Forbidden West or Ghost of Yotei works as a form of art, it doesn't make sense if the character looks like Eve. There was the famous picture of Atsu, and Crispy Bogod puts his money where his mouth is, drops a 10 bomb, and gets us to 343. Thank you. There was the famous picture of Atsu that had been photoshopped where she's got these gigantic breasts, they're hanging out, and, you know, Asmongold says, you'd have sold more copies if you did that. I don't agree with him. I don't. It would have been a complete broken promise and brand realignment to go from Ghost of Tsushima to Ghost of Gooning. It would have been like, what are we doing here? This doesn't look like the game that we were hoping would be the sequel. Like, you go from Jin to that? Like, I don't agree with him. I don't think it would have sold more copies. I think people have been like, what the frick is that? Like, it would have been odd. It would have been out of place. It would have made the story stupid. She's just bouncing into town and being like, I'm here to kill the Yotei 6. And like, what the heck? Did you just walk off the set of, like, you know, Baywatch? Like, what's going on here? It would have broken the immersion. It would have killed the art. It would have been like, this is stupid. Why does she look like that? Silent Spartan with 27 months. Joel was pretty jacked. He had working man physique. Abby's character design was distracting in a bad way. She didn't really become sympathetic until the last bit of the game when her design changed. Thank you so much for the VIP. Let me add you to the total. Ghost of Gooning, I'm dying at work. I don't agree that, like, your game automatically sells more copies if you do that. I will give you an example. Number one, it's an unfalsifiable position, which means it's really, really difficult for them to prove it or for it to be, it's not falsifiable. You basically always get to be right. How can we falsify the claim? Oh yeah, if you make the female half naked and attractive, you'll sell more copies. How could you possibly know that? If the target audience rejects it, and a 50 bomb comes in from Silent Spartan, boom, grants the wish, absolutely grants the wish of Crispy Bogod, and there it is on the doorstep of 400. Jiminy Christmas. I want to see some farty bombs in chat. You guys are well on your way to potentially having a normal Friday night. We haven't had one in a long time. We'll see if Silent Spartan can't get a sparring partner here. They would switch the narrative by saying, but what about the historical accuracy? Maybe. Here's the thing. Here's my example of why this narrative's false. It was proven false by Horizon. It was. Before Horizon Forbidden West came out, there were countless videos and tweets and complaints that, and Crispy Bogod's gonna go for it with the 50 bomb to go back and forth with Silent Spartan. We have not had a 50 bomb kaiju battle in a while, and these boys have stepped into the ring. We'll see if anybody else, hey, Purple, where are your champions over there? You're gonna need it today. Holy mackerel. I thought Madam was gonna get the night off. I really did. I really thought she was gonna get the night off. Before Horizon Forbidden West comes out, there is a very similar go woke, bleh, she's ugly, she's fat now agenda, okay? The images were photoshopped. They're not real. They're not representative of the product. That's common. They did the same thing with Yotei. They took a picture and lied about the ending, okay? Because that's just what these people do. So think about this for a second. Horizon Forbidden West has that runway lit of game's going to suck, game's going to bomb, not going to do well, you know, go woe, go broke, right? Horizon as a franchise has sold like 40 million copies. It's one of the most successful franchises that PlayStation owns. I think it's a complete repudiation of the idea that, well, you'll sell more copies if they're half naked. You'll sell more copies if they're hot. I don't think so. I think what makes a game strong, what makes a game sell well, what makes a game have high demand is a concrete identity. One of the things we've talked about a lot with Expedition 33 is the vibe, the tone, the feel. You know, it's like it just has an identity. Now, if Expedition 33, can you apply this rule? Can you like make everybody like, you know, scantily clad? Yes, the characters are beautiful. I think they're all attractive. But I don't necessarily think that's what solidified the identity of Expedition 33. What solidified the identity of Expedition 33 is the art style more than anything. It looks like a painting for good reason. And a single comes in from Rockin' Robin to get us a nice 5-bomb away from 450. I owe you guys a 5-bomb as soon as this hits 450. So somebody bring it home. And another 50-bomb from Silent Spartan on the doorstep. Rockin' Robin pokes it again to 496. We are 4 away from 500. And yes, we do have stretch goals. We do. And we're gonna be working on that any second now. There it is. And a 5-bomb comes in from Silent Spartan. That's the Agent of Chaos and pushes us past 500. And Wired Rope and Cardoc Ren have decided to throw in on the train. A 5-bomb from Cardoc Ren. And a 5-bomb comes in from Wired Rope. It's been a big week bouncing back on both Purple and YouTube. We need to get our sub points up over there too on Purple. Once again, I know that week off probably hurt us, but that is the case. We are needing to see that happen. Mash, is Mash here? We haven't seen Mash in a very long time. I'd love it. I'd love him to come back and hang around. Even if he just comes back and debates. I miss him. And an upgraded Member Plus from Genishiro's Secret Stash. That counts as 2. Member Pluses count as 2. And a 10-bomb comes in from Risic as we climb to 750. What did we... I forget what we even said for 750. I can't remember. I was going to have to play something, wasn't it? Adding to the total. My man Smooth Jazz adds to the total. 524. There it is. Thank you so much. The chat has been completely hijacked at this point. But anyways, I do think the identity and the art matters more than just you got to make everybody hot. Some of the best story games don't work if everybody looks like Eve. Like, it just doesn't work. The art style would feel so bizarre. Say it. I'll say it with you. Incredible Black comes in with a Member Plus renewal, and a Member Plus renewal comes in from K. Cole. 3 years, my boy. Keep up the content. Thank you so much for 3 years, K. Cole. Let me add it to the total. And then another single comes in gifted from Mick D09. And Vix comes over with a Prime on Purple. YouTube has a 200 lead over you, Purple. You're going to need the pork pie rescue machine today if you're going to turn, oh boy, if you're going to try to tie it. He's done that before. I've not seen him in a while though, but that'd be your only hope now. Let's not kid ourselves. Those games were woke. They were also successful. Two things can be true at once. Could you tell me which games were woke? What games are you talking about? Justin with 25 months jumping back in. Boom. Thank you so much. If making your characters hot is what sold games, First Descendant would be the number 1 sales leader. Yeah, why did First Descendant fall off so hard? Why did Ghost of Yote sell better than Stellar Blade on PlayStation? Whiskey Neat comes in with 35 months in the VIP. Lono had to stop the membership for now. I think it was from last month. Anyway, Happy New Year. Great to see all the names again. Bumps it to 30. And a 10-bomb comes in from Space Jockey. He's so generous. Like, I think that's the best argument. If you would have sold more copies by making her hot, why did Ghost of Yote outsell Stellar Blade? Why? Why did it outsell Stellar Blade on the PlayStation? Doesn't make any sense to me. The hot girl should have outsold the less hot girl. The hot girl should have outsold the ugly girl, or whatever you want to call her. I don't think Atsu's ugly, but that's what they say. That to me seems like a falsification of the argument, does it not? Not the people's champion, the Gooner's champion of Stellar Blade. It should have outsold Yote easily. It should have. I think it takes a whole lot more than that to sell a game. How did Stellar Blade sell on PC? Let's see. It sold more copies on PC. It did. It had a massive launch, 1 million copies within its first 3 days. That would still mean Yote outsold it on PlayStation. Even when it launched on PC, it sounds to me. Total sales between PlayStation and PC, 3 million copies. I don't know if we have total sales since then. So, yeah, even with PC, it sounds like Yote outsold it. So, Yote's only on the PS5, so it's at a disadvantage even in that race. It's not on 2 platforms yet. A $10 super chat from Lotus says, Stellar Blade was the worst purchase of my life. Oh, I was my favorite game that year. I thought it was great. I really did. I thought it was great. Will Yote outsell Stellar Blade on PC? I don't know. Let's say that it doesn't. That would simply represent a cultural phenomenon where, like, maybe that type of game does sell better on Steam. I mean, there's an entire marketplace of like, you know, Gooner games on Steam. I don't expect characters to look like Eve or Dead Alive characters. It's weird seeing a jacked woman in post-apocalyptic world like The Last of Us. Where's the GNCs around? What about villages in Horizon full of overweight NPCs? They should be the fittest people around. The villages in Horizon weren't full of overweight NPCs. What are you talking about? And they established story-wise why Abby's able to be so strong. You're supposed to be struck by her size. You're supposed to ask, how is this possible? And then they explain how it's possible. They're basically a very, very well-organized civilization. She gets more food. They've got gyms and weights and the ability for people to beef up and stay in shape. She's not the only one who looks pretty healthy in that civilization. You're supposed to ask that question in that game, by the way. Your question is legitimate. How is this possible? They answer the question in the game. $10 super chat from the OA. I would argue it's way more distracting and prone to get your game bashed to have characters looking like Eve. It's such a good game and it's buried beneath all the gooning crap. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know how you could argue that. You'd have to really try to argue that Horizon's woke. I don't know what's woke in Horizon. I always think this is the checkmate in the discussion of those who try to claim The Last of Us Part 2 is woke. There's a scene in the game where a pregnant woman is killed, and it adds to the severity of the main character feeling really, really bad about what she has done. Does that sound woke to you? Doesn't sound woke to me. I don't know. I mean, that is, you know, yeah, that's to me. I remember when I saw that scene, I was like, how can anybody claim this is woke? Like, this scene has no gravity if you're from sort of like that side of the view of, like, you know, babies and all of that. And we're not going to have that debate, but, like, y'all know what I'm talking about. It doesn't feel very woke to me. It doesn't. If the intergalactic main character isn't woke, I don't know what is. What about her is woke? Explain it to me. Because I've analyzed that trailer quite a bit, and I actually think you're supposed to notice her appearance, but not for the reasons that everybody's talking about. So you have the floor. I would like you to tell me how she's woke. I'm interested. Let's have the conversation. Game's coming, game's probably going to get some sort of marketing this year, I would think. Gonna have to be back later. All right. No one ever mentions the scars on her head. Oh, there's a lot to talk about. Why are they literally showing you buzzing her head? She doesn't just show up bald. They're not just like, bald woman. They literally show you buzzing her head, like keeping her hair short. Okay? There's a reason for that. Like, in a world of Naughty Dog and how they tell stories, everything you see matters, right? Joel's broken watch, Joel getting older, having gray in his beard. There's a lot of visual elements to their storytelling. So when you watch that trailer is drenched in Naughty Dog's storytelling method. They use visuals to let you know about certain things. I'm serious. So, like, there's a reason that she's bald. There's a reason they show her buzzing her own head. There's a reason that she looks tired. There's a reason that she looks haggard and, like, has bags under her eyes. She doesn't have makeup on. She doesn't look all done up and dolled up. There are reasons for these things. And that's all lost in the fray of this is clearly coming from, woke Naughty Dog. They're making her to be an empowering masculine woman. Okay. So that's your argument. Your argument is they're making her to be a masculine woman. Why make a woman bald for no apparent reason other than to look different and to make baldness a story point? It's just silly storytelling, honestly. So was it silly storytelling in V for Vendetta? Was it silly storytelling in Aliens 3? Was it silly storytelling in G.I. Jane? It's a method of letting you know something pretty significant has happened when Natalie Portman is bald, when Sigourney Weaver is bald. Like these are significant things. You're supposed to notice it and be like, why would It's a method of drawing your attention to something. It's severe. It's meant to get your attention. It is. It's a method of storytelling. Seriously. Like, when you saw the trailer or the posters for Alien 3, you're like, what the frick happened? Sigourney Weaver is bald? When you saw Natalie Portman bald in the V for Vendetta trailers, you're like, what the heck? Little, adorable, cute Natalie Portman? Why is she bald? What's going on? It's meant to draw your attention. See, I believe everybody in this conversation, not everybody, but a good portion of people in this conversation are misinterpreting something. You're injecting something into the conversation that is not there at all. All the clues are there in the trailer. Everything's there. Yeah, and the actor typically has short hair anyway. And I don't know what y'all think, but I think she's a baddie. It shows you how much a lack of makeup and a tired face can do. Like, you know what I'm saying? We all wake up looking a little bit rough. I get bags under my eyes, right? There's a reason you see her shaving her head. There's a reason she looks tired. She's not meant to look like this put together babe. And there's literally a picture in the game to let you know that. She's cozied up against some guy who's like a stud, like a mustache, and she's got her hair, and it even looks like she's got some makeup on, and she's smiling. She looks way more feminine in the picture. These are all clues. You're meant to be curious and be like, what is going on? Why does she look like that? Who is she going after? Why am I seeing stuff from the 80s in outer space? These are all methods of how Naughty Dog tells a story. And instead of breaking that down and analyzing that, you just get a bunch of, oh, here we go, bald lesbian uggo. Instead of looking at the picture and the story and being like, I don't think she's a lesbian. She sure is cozied up with that guy in that picture. Like they're an item. And she looks pretty in the picture. And it's weird to open up a trailer and have somebody buzzing their head. Almost as if something has happened. She's a woman of color, masculine and tough, and bald. I think this is just diversity for the sake of diversity, mate. So, there is something that you're guilty of, and I don't even think you see it. And I'm going to try to help you see it. This is really hard. I think you're guilty of what I would label defaultism. I don't know if that's the term people use, but it's the one I'm going to start using. That is defaultism, bro. She's breaking from the default. Do you guys remember when... This is actually the irony of this. This is the irony, okay? Do you remember the Blizzard made it? Oh, what was it called? It was the diversity tool that they made because they wanted the characters to be more diverse. And you know what's hilarious? They would give you points or take away points the further you got away from a white male. Now that is as see-through as a plastic bag. That is defaultism. Like, what the frick? You're going to take points away? The more it's over here, you're just trying to get away from that. You're doing the same thing on the other side of the coin. You're like, if it ain't this, I'm going to assume ill intent or something else. It's just defaultism. Like, you're breaking from this. Bad. That equals bad. Do you see? I really hope you see it. Because I'm not trying to have a go at you. I'm trying to, like, have a conversation with you. Instead of going back and forth and throwing around words, you know, people throw around incel and all this. I don't want to do that. I've done that in the past, and it's not productive. I'm trying to help you see. You're like, you're immediately suspicious the minute that the default character skin's not present. It's like, not a guy, not white, problem. And it's like, whoa, what? Why? No, Sven, that's not helpful. Bad news. Some of the baddest chicks you've ever seen have that haircut without their wigs and extensions. You need to be calling them out on Main Street, creature. You need to be calling them out like that. You got to be real careful of defaultism. You got to be careful. I don't think it is... It's one thing to... There are people in the world who hate those that don't look like them. And I don't think that you're guilty of that. I don't. I think people go too far, right? The minute somebody says something like you said, they're going to jump to that word and they're going to jump to that accusation. I don't think that that's productive, okay? I think defaultism is more passive and more subconscious. Like, I don't think you're actively aware of it. It's just there. I can understand the defaultism, actually. I'm just suspicious because it's Naughty Dog. I'm also not saying at all the main characters should be a white guy either. But they're not being that makes you say all the things you said. You see? You know what I mean? It's suspicious, isn't it? Kind of like walking down the road and being told that you look suspicious, right? Like, guilty of walking while. We all know what that is. Like that kind of, you got to be careful because that's what it starts to sound like. Is that it, Fuzzy? Did you find it? Do you guys remember this? Oh, this was remarkable. Yeah. The diversity, they were, this was something. This was something. Boy, oh boy. The further you got away from a white man, the better. That was literally, you scored. You would score more points making a character, you know? That's a great point. What's a great point? $5 super chat from Roberto. Some of y'all don't season your chicken and it shows. God forbid there's some race or style in video games. Listen, I will readily admit this was a long time ago, but there was a time where that was like my preference. I was like infatuated with, ladies that didn't look like me, is what I'll say. I went through, I guess it was a phase, right? I guess it was a phase. But yeah, man, like have a little diversity in your tastes, I guess I should say. You know what I mean? I'm black and I have no issue with diversity in games. Guess it's a draw. I'll be the first to admit, and I've called it in the past. I've called it diversity dust. I don't like when I can tell something is doing that. I don't. You've been in that phase for 40 years. Yeah, some of you guys are still there, and good for you. Anyways, I don't like it when it's obvious. I'm right there with you. There are moments that are ridiculous. Like, there are moments that are pandering and it's obvious. Like the girl boss moment at the end of Avengers, right? Where all the girls get together. I hate that kind of stuff. It's stupid. It's immersion breaking and it's dumb. Okay? Oh, walking while as it relates to defaultism. That's exactly right. Like, yeah. I'm trying to stay 30,000 feet here. Yeah, like Tash in Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I think when it's like that, like when it's like this very, very ham-fisted thing, it's very, very forced. Call it what it is. It's bad writing. It's see-through. It's stupid. It hurts the game. Okay? Zubair says, I'm woke as F, and I hated that scene in Endgame. Right. If it's too see-through, if it's too obvious, then I think it harms the art, okay? I think it hurt that scene in the Avengers. I think it really, really hurt Veilguard. Thank you, Just James, for the £1 tip. I'm right there with y'all, right? Listen, I'm a white male Christian, and I was raised very conservative. I'm right there with a lot of y'all on this stuff. I'm like, yo, slow the frick down. What are y'all doing? Like, I'm hearing what they're going to do to our, to the Chronicles of Narnia, and I'm pretty ticked about it, right? But I think sometimes, man, we go all the way too far as gamers, and we're like immediately in this lane of like, this is fill in the blank, We do this with more than the woke conversation, by the way. We do it with live service. We do it with AAA. We decide something is the villain, and then we're just going to kind of like wail on it, right? We did this the other day when I reacted to that video, and the guy conflated basically like really bad live service games with all AAA games, right? Remember that? I think this is a common thing that can happen in games, is we develop this sort of like othering thing where we're like, oh, that's the devil, that's the villain, that's the bad guy. Yo, Noctis with the gifted. Thank you so much. And that's why in this situation, I just wanted to have a conversation with you. I didn't want to have a go at you or, get into like a name calling thing. And I hope you felt, respected and given the opportunity to say your point. I don't agree with you, And I don't think Naughty Dog is going to have a flop on their hands. Like, the second Last of Us did perfectly fine. It was very successful. Ghost of Yotei was very successful. Horizon is very successful. Like, all these attempts to create this idea that, like, these games suck, they're bad, they're going to be rejected, and they're woke. Here's the other problem. And I really, really want people to hear this. All the talk about pattern recognition, to me, falls to the ground when the current pattern is a lot of these games that y'all said were going to flop, fail, be terrible, and be woke, they weren't. That's the pattern. If you want to talk about pattern recognition, let's talk about it. Was there any woke stuff, any woke weirdness, any progressive, weird, forced stuff in AC Shadows? No. Did it flop? No. It was the second most commercially successful Assassin's Creed in history. So what they all start talking about? Ubisoft's share value that was already in a downward fall because of all the stuff that they do. It's also like one of the largest conglomerates of developers in existence, and that their share value is affected by more than one game. Same thing with Yotei. Yotei's going to flop. Yotei's going to go broke. 10th most sold game last year. Top 10 game. Also really hurts the exclusive argument, too, because it was an exclusive. It was on one platform, and it managed to get in the top 10 of sales. How'd you do that if exclusives are bad, anti-consumer, and don't sell as many copies? How do you do that? You see, like, if you want to talk about pattern recognition, the pattern is that a bunch of games I was told were going to flop and be terrible. They weren't. Did you not see a black guy in there? What are you talking about? In AC Shadows? Yeah, I did. His story was actually really cool. I'd watch a frickin' show of that. When he meets, what's his name? Nobunaga? Is that how you say his name? When he meets him, it's frickin' awesome. It would make for an amazing show. That'd be an incredible anime. It was awesome. He was terrible in the game as a character. I hated playing as him because he couldn't climb and he couldn't hide. You know? As Mighty Keith said, this 6-foot basketball person, he couldn't do any of the Assassin's Creed stuff. I wished he wasn't in the game for completely different reasons. Let's see, a $10 super chat from Sean Torius. We need more people with your mindset that grew up as white male conservative. Even with our Discord convo, they were great. And you know what I'm saying. Thank you so much. Bet means Roger. Bet. There you go. I'm not code switching for y'all, but I'll give you a bet, okay? If Trill was here. On God. All right. Anyways. Yeah, I thought his story was great. There is an anime that sets it up the exact same way, or is it? I'm assuming it's probably different. He's also DEI because I'm pretty sure Oda hired him. I thought he hired him because he was... Well, it was twofold. I think he liked the fact, at least in the game, it seemed like he liked the fact that he looked the way that he looked. It made people fearful of him. Also, his size. Also, he was clearly a warrior. He had the mind of a warrior. He was the most, adept person in the room. The Asuka anime is vastly different. He had a quota. I'm black and was always tired of the rhetoric. Oh, wait, hang on. I hated the push, not only in games, but movies and comics. They did so much since the 2010s. I used to be upset by it, but I reached a point where I stopped caring. So do you feel, True SSJ Havoc, do you feel like that's what was happening with Atsu and Yotei, or that's what was happening with AC Shadows, or, Intergalactic and her being bald and all that? Do you feel like that's what's going on? Here's what I think happened. I think two things happened that made everybody really jumpy. I know what it's like to get jumpy and to think somebody's against you and to think somebody's attacking you when they're not. I know what that's like. I've done that as a streamer many times. I have a history, and I get activated and I get jumpy, right? And I'll jump right down, somebody's, throat on something, like, you would just shut your pause. I will, because you think, oh gosh, this person's having a go at me, and they're just asking a question, right? I know exactly what that's like, and I think what's happened is we have a big group of people that are real jumpy because there was a culture that villainized you for a long time, and you rightfully feel angry and disenfranchised, and there were really, really canned, pandering attempts to do what I've called diversity dust. And it made you very, very angry. You felt like you were kind of getting attacked from two sides. You felt like, your safe haven in games and entertainment was getting attacked, and you felt like you were getting attacked. Okay? I get that. And I think there's legitimacy to some of that, and some of it's not as legitimate, but I think there's legitimacy to how people feel. That's how they feel. And I think what's happening is you're very jumpy now. Okay? It's like somebody broke into your house, and now when you hear a floorboard creak, you're jumpy. And you think, somebody's in the house, right? You're jumpy. I get it. At some level, maybe you have a right to be a little jumpy. But I think what's happening is now you're being jumpy, like, about everything. Bald woman, yet clearly ugly bald lesbian woke. And it's like, whoa. There's so many clues in the trailer. You got this one so wrong. Same thing happened with Yote. Yote quite literally does everything with its story that these guys want. They always complain about Mary Sue's and girl bosses. And the story in Ghost of Yote is so good at never doing that. She gets beat up, humbled, almost dies. She gets lectured. She gets corrected. She gets absolutely the entire time in the game. She's getting stretched and corrected, and she has to grow and improve and change, and she has to go back on her plan at certain points. This is why I've consistently said Ghost of Yote is not even a revenge story. It is a redemption story. She goes through a form of redemption. Her whole outlook in life is changed. And the beautiful thing of the story is it doesn't happen through like realizing revenge bad. No. She's redeemed by love. That's what's great about the story. She's given new purpose, and she's given new purpose in the connection that she has with a family member. So it's not even like the love that you might think, like romantic love. That's a great story. It's a great story that tons of people aren't going to experience because they're like, woke. It's like, what the heck? It's literally why they had to lie about the story at the end. They had to make up the ending, like, and use some picture to make everybody think that's what happened, and that's not what happened. And you miss out on an amazing story and an amazing game. Yes. Erika Ishii, the actress, obviously was a perfect lightning rod for people to wail on. The way Lono said purpose gave me Agent Smith vibes. I don't know if every once in a while I'll slip into some Agent Smith, but I wasn't intending to. Ghost of Egg Yolk is a trash game. I don't get it. Tsushima was so much better and still is. Can you establish why you think that? What made Tsushima better and what makes Ghost of Yote trash? Because I've played both, and I actually think Yote excels in many areas over Tsushima, and Tsushima is one of my all-time favorite games. I mean, you feel free to voice your opinion. I'm not saying your opinion's wrong. I would like to know why you think what you think. Like, why would you think it's a trash game and Tsushima is so much better? And I'm looking at them, I'm like, they are not worlds apart here. Definitely not in quality. Definitely not in the combat, the gameplay, the open world. You know what I mean? Like, what on earth brought you to that conclusion? I'd be suspicious of even having a playthrough in Yotei for you to say that. That's insane to be like, Tsushima's amazing, but Yotei's trash. Like, Jiminy Christmas. We have some questions being submitted I'll get to in a minute. I would ask did he play Yotei? I don't believe that they did. I'd have a really hard time believing that a big fan of Tsushima played Yotei and concluded that it was trash. Like, wow. If you're a big fan of Yotei, if you're a big fan of Tsushima, there was so much in Yotei to enjoy. Div 3 is a real thing. It is a real thing. They spoke with the New Game Plus event, and they said that it's turning into a monster. Or something like that. They use a phrase like that. It's becoming a monster or something. I doubt they played Tsushima either. Yeah, I mean, you have the floor. I'm happy to listen to what you have to say. I'm starting to take a very different approach here. When someone says, they don't like something. Well, yeah. Yeah, you don't have to like it as much. There were people that didn't like the story as much. Yeah, there's the quote. Division 3 is in production and is, quote, shaping up to be a monster, says franchise boss Julian Garrity. Yeah. Within these walls at Massive, we are working extremely hard on something that I think will be as big as an impact as Division 1. That's pretty good. Kitsune's story is amazing. Crimson Kimono is amazing. Spider Lily is amazing. The main story is awesome. Drive-by troll. You'll never guess how old their account was. Gee, I wonder what they were trying to do. Okay, here's the deal. I have a planned gameplay segment today, and I'm going to get that scheduled, but that's going to give you guys some time to keep going. Usually once we get into gameplay, the gifting efforts stop. If we get to 750, I'll do a stream with you guys tomorrow, okay? I'm gonna lower that threshold a little bit. We're kind of trying to bounce back, so I'm going to let you guys kind of scramble. You scramble to get it well past 500. So I will do an extra stream tomorrow evening. We'll do a community game night. We'll hang out. We'll play some arcraiders or Jackbox or something, like whatever you guys want to play. So I'll give you guys a chance to do that, all right? We are going to be checking out Control today, because I think people should play it, because Control Resonant is coming, and I think you guys should check out Control. It's an amazing game, and I'm really excited for you guys to see it today. I will be playing on the PS5 Pro. It looks awesome. Wait, why can't I find the game Control? Is there a special word I should put in to find the game Control? I can't find Control as a game on YouTube. Does it have like a unique name or something? I feel like it did. Let's see. Control trailer. Here's a story trailer from 6 years ago. It might not have a category. It's very possible. Okay. Yes. By the way, I hope you guys like that I turn off that chat summary thing. I went into a stream yesterday where that was there, and I was like, this is one of the most annoying features. I was like, get out of the way. I was so annoyed. Just type Control PS5. I'll leave us in Control Resonant. I don't think that's... Well, no. It's always best to be where you want to be. I mean, let me see if I can find it that way. No, Control PS5, it doesn't... Oh, Control Ultimate Edition. I'll do that. Control Ultimate Edition. Member renewal from Mr. Fulton. Hello, everyone. I have big news today. I will be on American Idol. I will be on America's Got Talent. Wait. You're going to be on both? How'd you get on both? Thanks for turning it off. You're welcome. I like my coffee black, my cheesecake plain white, my burrito spicy, diversity's good. That's right. That's right. He's talented. Well, being talented, it's still really hard to get on those shows. That's why I'm kind of surprised. Remedy Entertainment? Yeah, Remedy. Control Ultimate is the only PS5 Pro Enhanced version. This is another one. Is there a... Do they have that trailer in a category? No, they don't have it in a category. Like, if you scroll down beneath it, they don't have it. Unless they have it underneath Control Remedy. Maybe... Oh, maybe that's how it's listed on YouTube. Control Remedy. Yeah, no, they just have the Control Ultimate Edition. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a really, really quick break. Okay? If you guys are going to try and hit this stretch goal for an extra stream tomorrow, you've got some time to do it. Usually once I'm in gameplay, it doesn't happen, and that's totally fine. Madam will be joining me this evening. You guys unlocked it. That will be a public stream. We'll set the chat to members only, though. We'll do gaming news tonight, and then we'll end the night by having her play through Mascot Promise Agency or whatever it's called. Okay? I'll be right back. Went to get coffee. Did he rage quit again? Yeah. I rage quit, but I'm back. I'm back from the rage quit. I've rage quit streaming pretty much every day of my career for the last 10 years. And then I always come back. Okay. In 30 minutes, we're going to go to gameplay of Control. So let me pull up your questions. Some of you guys were submitting questions. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button. We're on our way to 300 likes, and it really, really will help. Question from It's Chill Will. Is State of Decay, isn't it the showcase? Is it time to worry? The question command is working. Let me see. Did you submit one? I don't see one from you, Dr. Red, but you can submit one right now if you'd like. Yeah, I think that's a fair question. It has been a long time since we've seen it. I would actually say that now is not the time to show State of Decay. The Developer Direct is really supposed to focus on games that are coming out this year. I would say that this summer we should probably hear about it, and if we don't, that would be pretty concerning. There is a surprise game, according to Shinobi, and then Jez Corden of Windows Central dropped some kind of a hint in his article about a team that's baking. I believe he used the word baking. I don't know why. I don't know if baking is a clue. So, no reason to worry about State of Decay. I don't know why you could say that. I mean, they've shown virtually nothing, and they did the same thing with it that they did with the other games. It's one of the best smaller devs Xbox has. That doesn't mean anything, though. It doesn't mean anything. Like, they did the same thing with that game that they did with Perfect Dark and Fable. They showed fake gameplay. I don't know. I think there's plenty of reason to be worried until they actually show something substantive. It's been a long time. Like, what, 7 years since they announced it? I don't know what this is. Haha. Thanks for using your Prime. Fast Flex. Adding to the total. 542. I owe you guys members. I'm going to do the 5 bomb over there before we go to the gameplay. I'll do it on the gameplay stream. And that'll be, to get you guys, hopefully, a membership that go over and hang out. That's a way of saying, hey, thanks for supporting gameplay. Perfect Dark still hurts. Yeah, I just think you've got to be careful with Xbox and Microsoft. They're very willing to show stuff that is not even remotely close to coming out, and it can be totally fake. They've been supporting State of Decay 2 for 7 years with big updates. I mean, yeah, but that could be a live team that is really good at their job. That doesn't mean anything about State of Decay 3. It just doesn't. Like, Destiny had a great live team that did really cool stuff for Destiny 1 at the end of its life cycle. It didn't translate into a good launch for Destiny 2. For my question, okay, did you submit one? And you want me to refer to that? Okay, I see your question. All right, let's go through these questions. Here's one from Christopher Burnett. Do you think Fable releases this year, or do you think it slips to 2027? I think I'm leaning towards it coming out this year. And the reason I'm thinking that is, if you're going to bring it to the Developer Direct with a deep dive, the Developer Direct is typically reserved for games coming out this year. So I think that sends a pretty loud signal that we're going to get it this year. That also means that, Forza Horizon 6 would be coming this year. Now, maybe they're going to structure it different, but I thought they said Forza Horizon 6 was slated for 2026. So you got 2 games from Playground that are slated for this year, and they're at the Developer Direct. So I was upset I missed the co-stream yesterday of New Game Plus. It was a pretty rough event anyway, so you didn't miss much. So, yeah. People are jumping on Rockstar for GTA, but they give a pass to State of Decay. It's been in development for 7 years. Yo, Plus on Black, thank you so much for using your Prime sub over there on Purple. I appreciate it so much. You guys have unlocked Friday night. You've unlocked Madam. She'll be here tonight. And then you can unlock a Saturday stream where we'll play some arcraiders and some Jackbox together. So we're currently working on a stretch goal of 750. So in general, I think when you look at games like this that have been in production for a very, very long time, I do think it's okay to be suspicious. I think it's okay to say, hey, you know, this game could be in trouble or it could get delayed or whatever. I think they're signaling pretty loudly with like Fable being at the developer direct that they're gonna want it. It's coming this year. And Terminal Stupidity comes in with a 10 bomb. Thank you so much. Terminal Stupidity gets us to 553. Very, very kind of you. Good to see you, Terminal Stupidity. So yeah, if Fable wasn't at the developer direct, I was actually going to be kind of concerned that after all this time, Playground shows up with Forza. You'd be like, yo, where is Fable? So, yeah. And Anubis comes over on Purple and says, once again, this is Omar, and this is a YouTube sub. I don't care what the graph says. Okay, well, Prime's going to bump it to 554. So, thank you very, very much. Code Violet, the rating is sad. Oh, they deserve it. They're a trash company, and they make trash games. So, they deserve it. Pressure works. In what way, Eugene, are you saying pressure works with, like, Larian? So yeah, to answer the question about Fable, I think Fable's coming this year. I think that's why it's at the developer direct. So, yeah. That's not like wishful thinking. I'm just kind of trying to do like a reading of like what they typically do and why they would have a game at the developer direct. So, I tried to watch gameplay after I saw the reviews. I got through about 30 seconds. Awful. Yeah. Yeah. This guy says tagging them is bold. Not really. What are they going to do? Member Plus from Omar. Like I said, this is a YouTube sub. Thank you so much, Omar. Bumps it to 555. Hey, that's a setup for a 20 bomb. We'll see. I'm going to owe you guys even more members, man. You guys are crushing it right now. Oh no, where do those totally legitimate user reviews go? Yeah, the game like magically had 12 user reviews immediately and they were all 10s. What's Code Violet? It's from Team Kill Media. They made Quantum Error. And they're just a bad company. They're untrustworthy, they're dishonest, they're toxic, and they make trash games. So they dropped a game that's getting terrible reviews because it's another piece of garbage, just like the last game that they made. So Christopher Minette says, is it pie in the sky dreaming to think we will ever get any more Uncharted games? It's been 10 years since Uncharted 4 came out. Well, the current thought is that there's a Cassie Drake one coming. And they basically said they had put, their final touches on the story. It was the #1 pre-order most anticipated on PlayStation. No, it wasn't. Come on. There's no way. That's not possible. How do we get to that page with like top selling games? How do we do it? PlayStation Store top sellers? Ain't no way. Ain't no way, bro. sort by best-selling. Is this best-selling right now or of all time? How do we? You guys always figure out a way to do that, and I can never figure out how to do it. There's a way to do it. You go and you can see like the best sellers currently. I can't find it. Pre-orders and most anticipated. Yeah, but where is there evidence of that? Where are you getting this? So wish listed. Yeah, where are you getting this though? Where do you have a page we can go to look? I have a hard time believing that game was doing that well. More wish listed in January than some of the big games coming this year. More wish listed than GTA, more wish listed than Resident Evil. Come on. There's no freaking way. PlayStation Store. Yeah, where do I go to see that? How do I see that? There's no way it got more wish lists in this month or the previous month than games like Resident Evil. How could they possibly do that? Collections? People got to get their eyes checked if that was the most anticipated and most wish listed game, dude. People are having I don't know what you're doing, but that game looked bad from jump. I don't know how you can I don't know how you can land, I should say, that strong when the trailers and everything were just so obvious. It was just, whew. People love dinos. I mean, it makes sense why you would launch on a platform where people can't get refunds. That's why we should be able to get refunds on PlayStation and not have to go through hoops. I think PlayStation's refund policy is terrible. Steam's the best one we got. You know? Quantum Error is still pending an Xbox release. Yeah, it'll be pending in perpetuity. But yeah, allegedly, Christopher Burnett, there's a Cassie Drake Uncharted coming. Naughty Dog made it sound like they were done, but maybe they were done with that story. I don't know. So, another question here from Space Jockey. Off topic, sorry. No, that's fine. We've actually tried to establish that now. You guys can submit questions about anything within gaming. You see the new test showing that DLSS 4.5 can surpass native image quality. I think you predicted that would happen in the near future. I don't know if I predicted exactly that, but I basically told people to be careful about like poo-pooing upscaling and frame gen, because there could be advancements in the technology that will benefit all of us. You know, you can get to a point where, you know, low-powered handhelds could harness some of this power and give really, really good image quality and performance. I for now, am, you know, not wanting to jump into a game and deal with, you know, frame gen if you're doubling the frames, or, you know, upscaling that's going to look bad or look blurry or muddy. But I think all of the tech can improve, and you can get to a point where the expectation is that like any handheld's going to give you 60 FPS. Like that's kind of where I see things going. That doesn't seem like a Lono prediction. I'm not sure Lono can spell DLSS. No, it was after one of those presentations. Everybody was like making fun of like fake frames and fake resolution. I was like, y'all need to slow down. That technology is going to become really standard, and it's going to keep getting better, and you're going to see, especially in the realm of handhelds, I think you're going to see big improvements and leaps. And, you know, it's, yeah, I don't think it's something that you should just be so, people were really dismissive about it. And I was like, this stuff could get pretty good. Lil and I's been on that for years. I remember DMing about all this years ago. I don't remember that. I remember the ray tracing thing, because I thought ray tracing was a gimmick and a resource hog. And Wheezy was like, nope, everybody's going to get on the ray tracing train, and here's why. And so I did a bunch of research. That's why I started telling people, like, ray tracing is going to become standard practice because it is good for development, speeds up development. People really like it, and not only that, you've got such an image quality lift from GI. Global illumination is just such an image quality lift. Like Assassin's Creed Shadows just opened my eyes to like, oh my gosh, you're not going to get games to look better by giving me more pixels. Like that's not really the goal anymore. The goal is give me really good image quality. Oh, Code Violet is PS5 Pro enhanced. Yeah. You have an easier time seeing how bad of a game it is. Can't wait for 5 to 6 years from now, path tracing to be more standard. Yeah, that's probably the next thing. Dear game dev, says Black Hokage, you're making the map bigger doesn't make the game better. Give us 10 square miles of actual content instead of 100,000 miles of copy-pasted forests and boring fetch quests. Bunch of 4 reviews. Talk Yosh. Cook 'em. I mean, people are going to learn. I mean, they're going to learn. It's a good practice to stop. It's a really good practice to leave me alone. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. But Jimmy Shaker Day always comes. Always does. You know what I mean? I'm a patient man. I am a patient man. When it comes to that kind of stuff, it's like, you'll get yours. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but you'll get yours. You'll get what's coming to you. The Who Shaker? Jimmy Shaker. It's from the movie Ransom. Gary Sinise has got like a monologue to Mel Gibson. He's like, you're going to hear a backfire of a car and you're going to look over your shoulder. He's like, maybe not today or maybe not tomorrow, but you're going to have to ask yourself, is today Jimmy Shaker Day? You always get them. I mean, it's just a part of the fabric of the universe, man. You conduct yourself in a certain kind of way as a business or a person, it'll come back. Always does. Always does. You had a discussion about performance and quality and graphics a long time ago. At the beginning of this gen, when I looked at Horizon Forbidden West, I remember saying I think we're close to the ceiling of fidelity. I said I don't think late gen PS5 is going to like blow Horizon Forbidden West out of the water. That point got misunderstood and misquoted a lot. People thought that I said we're at the ceiling and games won't look any better. That's not what I said. I said we're very close to the ceiling already. I didn't think the jump from Forbidden West to late gen games was going to be very big. It'll be there, but I don't think it'll be as big as it was in the past. That's what I argued at the beginning of this gen. I think that's being proven true pretty consistently. There are games that are coming out that look better than Forbidden West, but the chasm isn't there anymore. It isn't. It's not this enormous leap of difference. It's there and you can see it, but we were very close to the ceiling from the beginning of this gen. And you can't use the Pro either. The Pro is a bit of a cheat code. You got to, do it on the base PS5 if you're really going to make these comparisons. So I think the same thing's going to happen when we go to the PS6. Man, oh man. And I think Cerny nailed it when he was talking to Digital Foundry. And he's like, we really need to change the way we talk about this. It needs to be about image quality. We can't keep talking about, is the resolution higher? Like, that just isn't the question anymore. The question is image quality. Because upscalers, the whole native resolution debate that we had for a while with people, I'm like, why are you so fixated on native resolution? You can't even frickin' tell. Dollars to donuts. A lot of these guys that fixate on native resolution, I could put you in front of a TV and you could be playing on an upscaler and you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know if it's done well. You wouldn't. If the image quality is good, if you got GI turned on, you're going to be like, this looks incredible. You know, it's like that skit with Chris Farley. They're like, yeah, you've been drinking this the entire time. And he's like, I'm sorry, what? It's like, yeah, you've been playing on an upscaler this entire time. Yeah, we tricked you. Because you can't tell if it's done right. It's very difficult to tell. You got to like stop moving and like look really closely. It's like once you're in motion and playing the game, it's very difficult to detect. Next generation won't be some huge fidelity leap. We're approaching the ceiling on physical silicon improvement. Just bring back real game footage. Games like how old school Mortal Kombat was. Oh, like where you like you turn like a real person into an animated sprite? Is that what you mean? Upscaling is basically space magic at this point. Yeah, I kept telling people, I was like, native resolution is a fool's errand. Like, why do you care about that? You know? You're straining at a gnat. You're like, but it's native. What? Who cares? If you're going to get more consistent performance and you can turn on things like ray tracing and GI and path tracing, why in the heck would you be out here straining to be like, oh, but it's native. Yeah, and to get a decent frame rate, you got to turn stuff off or down. No, thank you. I got 2 notifications. What did I miss? Blueprints and Rematch had updates that went out. Apparently. If you guys haven't hit the like button on YouTube, man, double check that. I know a lot of you guys kind of lurk and listen and spend your time here throughout the day. I appreciate that very, very much. There's a reason Moore's Law has existed for so long. People think the hot streak we were on from 2017 to 2023 was normal and going to continue into infinity when engineers have been signaling it will slow down. For sure. All right, I need to make sure my audio is synced for the console. Okay. Okay. My browser's acting weird. I don't know. Firefox has been acting kind of weird. You guys got me to switch to Firefox, and even it acts kind of funky sometimes. I don't know what's doing. Okay. All right. What we need to do here is okay. All right. We got 2 more questions left. I know Dr. Red, you've been patient, as well as Yanadid here. Have you heard about the Steambox price leaks? $950 base price. I mean, I've not heard that, but I won't be surprised if it's in the upper levels, the 800 to 1,000 range. It wouldn't surprise me at all. It's on the PlayStation app on the phone. Go to collections and most anticipated. Okay. PlayStation app. Where do you go to the store? Collections. Monthly picks. Most anticipated. Yeah, Code Violet is at the top. It's above Code Vein 2. It's above High on Life and Neo 3. It's above Resident Evil and 007. It's above Crimson Desert. I find this incredibly hard to believe. So how do they sort this? I don't know. I don't put a whole lot of stock into that, my man. I just don't. we're talking about globally recognized franchises are lower on the most anticipated list than Code Violet. That's something that doesn't pass the smell test to me. That something's off there. Something doesn't add up. We got a big year ahead of us. We got a lot of games for people to wish list, and I don't know about that, dude. I don't know. Feels like somebody wrote a check. PlayStation's like, yeah, sure. It also feels like something that they could easily manipulate with bots, right? This is a company that has proven itself to do things that are shady, right? They immediately had all those perfect scores on Metacritic, right? Wouldn't surprise me at all. All you got to do to rise on that list is to be what, like you said, most wish listed. Come on, dude. Come on. These guys are out here potentially using bots, to do that. I don't trust it. Everything in me says that smells fishy. Everything in me. Yeah, they've already tweeted about this. We make games for our fans and players who actually spend their hard-earned money on our games and support us, not critics. Fan made us number one, and fans are having fun with our dated old-school gameplay. You all have made Code Violet our biggest success to date and still have one day to full release. We can't thank you enough. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Translation. We used bots to get most anticipated on PS5 with wish lists and had 10 perfect user scores on Metacritic this morning that are already gone. There you go. Okay, I got a question from Dr. Red, and then we're going to go to gameplay. Looks like Larian has completely backed off from using AI at all for their next game. Do you think that if they just said they were using AI to begin with, they would have avoided this situation? Listen, I know they just said that, nothing that's been AI generated will end up in their game. I know they said that. Listen, they already said that. He said that they would use AI to explore ideas, but then they would make the concept art themselves. So the homie already said that their concept artists don't even use it to make concept art. So why do we think that this is some kind of revelation? I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel like people are really, really getting out on this one. They made it clear, concept artists would use it to explore something. Okay. But they would then make their own art. They did change it up a tiny bit. I don't know. If they're not going to allow anything, they're also not. I'm sorry. What they're saying now is if they use Gen AI, it will only source their database or whatever. I think people are getting so purity test on this that they're having to be like, yeah, we're only going to source our own stuff. I don't think this level of purity testing is needed. I think people just need to chill the frick out. I feel like people always need a fight and a crusade, and I don't know. All right, I'm going to switch the control directory on purple. And then I'm gonna... They're not using it in the art process at all anymore. Oh, so they're removing it from their art process? They're not using AI at all now, and if they decide to do it in the future, it'll be models trained on their own stuff. That's a shift. If they feel that's the right call, that's their call. I feel like this kind of, like I said, this kind of purity testing is just, I don't know. It's pretty extreme. All right, I'm going to put a link in chat. I need you guys' help when we do this. This kind of a stream can do very, very well. We did this with Returnal, and that Returnal video is still to this day crushing. Still to this day. And I'm extremely excited about Control Resonant, so I think it's a really good idea to let people see a game like this. And I've already gifted the 5 members that I owe you guys over there on the gameplay stream. So click the link in chat or ride the redirect. It's a huge, huge help to me when you guys support gameplay on the channel. If you guys want to come over and keep gifting like crazy and unlock community game night, that would be awesome as well. All right. So I'm going to get that stream started here in just a second, and then I will redirect you guys. Okay. There we go. Hang on. Turn my music off. I'll get the member display up. I'm going to shrink the member display a little bit, though. That way you guys can still track it. And then I'm going to do this. Okay. Thank you so much for checking out this video. This is going to be Control gameplay in 2026 in anticipation for Control 2 or Control Resonance. Now, I have played this game before. I love this game. I am playing on the PS5 Pro. They did some nice updates. It looks and runs amazing. Now, I am a couple hours into the game because I wanted to be able to showcase some of the systems to you without any major spoilers to really show you why this game is both special and a ton of fun. You've got plenty of time to play this before Control Resonant comes out. We don't even actually have a release date yet for Control Resonant, so it's probably going to be, middle of the year or later. I'm going to end the previous stream, and I'm going to bring people over with Redirect. Thank you guys so much for a great, fun day. We did a talk show about all the various things going on in the gaming industry.